Chapter 108. Jiangli flicked his wrist again and used vigorous thunder to send a Caucasian student flying. There is no doubt that he won the battle. This was his 28th battle. Ever since his fight with Tang Yin ended in a draw, Jiangli had been invincible, defeating all his opponents and winning every single time. However, as his points increased, the opponents he met also became stronger. In the first 25 rounds, his opponents were basically people with vitality points below 2, but after the 25th round, all of his opponents had vitality points above 2, and the battles became more difficult. The Caucasian student with vitality points of 2 had actually used an A-grade Western martial art, Doomsday Fist. The power of this martial art even surpassed that of heaven-breaking Dragon Elephant. However, the Caucasian student had not mastered it well enough. With his vitality points of 2, he could not control this fist technique. The initial power was shocking, but after a few moves, Jiangli found a flaw and sent him flying with the 8 trigrams Thunderpalm. Jiangli's battle experience was getting richer and richer. Every student that could get into Star Sky University had their own unique skills. They were Jiangli's best opponents. After every battle, Jiangli would think. He was calculating the shortcomings of his own martial arts. There were not many opportunities to fight like this, especially under the protection of the energy barrier. Both sides were not in danger, and they could fight freely without holding back. This way, it would stimulate their desire to fight, and they would fight to their heart's content. Moreover, he would memorize the martial arts displayed by every student in his mind. Gradually, he would fuse these martial arts together and nurture the true meaning of his own martial arts. Ding dong! A voice came from the AI. Student Jiangli, your 28th battle has ended. You have 55 points. As long as you win the next battle, your points will enter the top 10. Please work hard. What? As long as I win one battle, my points will enter the top 10? That's great. Jiangli clenched his fists tightly. However, as his points grew higher and higher, the opponents he faced each time were more powerful. This was because the AI would choose opponents with the same number of points. It was impossible for someone with lower points to fight against someone with higher points. He waited quietly. Suddenly, he felt a sense of pressure. He immediately felt that the opponent this time would be very strong, because his sixth sense had already predicted some changes. As expected, the energy transmitted a person in. The energy dispersed. A proud and aloof man appeared. His body was as straight as a sword, and his aura was imposing and independent. He was like a saint standing on the peak of a mountain, surveying the mountains and rivers, and taking in the picturesque mountains and rivers. Meng Xingyun, Jiangli was shocked. A terrifying opponent had finally appeared. It was actually Meng Xingyun. Jiangli subconsciously swallowed a mouthful of saliva. This person was too terrifying. When Jiangli first saw him outside the base the day before yesterday, he knew that this person was absolutely powerful and that he was no match for him. He didn't expect that he would be so unlucky that it was his turn in the qualifier. However, no matter how strong the opponent was, Jiangli still had to give it a try. This match was extremely important. If Jiangli could win, he would be able to enter the top 10 in the rankings. If he failed, there would be no place for him in the top 10. Among the Cosmic Star University's candidates, the top 10 were treated much better than ordinary students. They might even receive the attention of a big shot and be accepted as a disciple. No matter what, he had to fight for it. You're very strong. Meng Xingyun's first sentence was just a slight praise. He swept his gaze, and Jiangli felt the surroundings change. He was standing wretchedly on the ground, and Meng Xingyun was high above. His huge body was like a Buddha, and he could suppress Jiangli with one hand. His voice reverberated through the 9 heavens, shaking people's hearts. This was subduing the enemy without a fight. Hypnosis. Da-ding. Jiangli immediately realized that this was a spiritual illusion. His brain of the universe operated slightly, and all the illusions disappeared. With his current hypnosis realm, even a Da-ding expert couldn't do anything to him. Your spiritual cultivation is not bad. Meng Xingyun suddenly pointed. His body and feet didn't move, but he dashed straight over. His whole body was like a mountain moving in the air, and then his finger was like a sword chopping down. Firmament God, sword technique. A rank martial arts. Zhongli was shocked. He only saw that when his opponent's finger chopped down, the entire sky was shrouded. There was nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. This kind of aura and sharpness had nothing to do with power. It was all a kind of momentum, a kind of chi. The martial arts realm was no longer about subduing people with power, but using momentum to suppress them. Dragon-snake combination attack. At this juncture, Zhongli didn't even think. He knew that other low-level martial arts couldn't block this move. He couldn't use the Great Emperor's Thunder Seal or Great Emperor's Wind Seal either. The only thing that could block this move was the dragon-snake combination attack. He had a dragon in his left hand and a snake in his right. They fought with each other and swept over. One dragon and one snake contended for supremacy, and they attacked the Firmament God sword technique. Just as the two great martial arts were about to collide, Meng Xingyun suddenly pointed again. His fingers trembled, and dreamy circles appeared one after another. In the blink of an eye, it became a huge circle, and it completely dissolved Zhang Li's strength. Then, Zhang Li felt a terrifying aura rise in his heart. His attack seemed to have fallen into a black hole, and it was difficult to retreat. Bang! A terrifying sword finger appeared out of nowhere and touched his body. He felt all the bones in his body shatter, as if he had been struck by lightning. He was thrown back, and a voice sounded in his ear, "The battle is over. Zhongli is lost. You've lost the top 10. I hope you'll work harder in the future." Hearing this voice, Zhongli wasn't discouraged. He was very calm. He knew that all the bones in his body had been shattered by Meng Xingyun's finger, and his injuries were serious. However, with the medical methods of Starry Sky University, he would recover very quickly. He still lost the top 10. His vitality could have been in the top 10, but unfortunately, his luck was bad, and he was matched against a powerful opponent like Meng Xingyun. This person's martial arts realm is clearly one level higher than mine. Even if I use the Great Emperor's Thunder Seal and Great Emperor's Wind Seal, I still won't be his match. The main thing is that my understanding of the two seals isn't deep enough, and I can't show their power. Zhongli was very clear-headed. He was wrapped in a ball of energy, and he saw many medicines appear in the energy. They were smeared on his body, and then the energy seeped into his body and began to repair his bones. Crack, crack. He was very observant and could see the bones in his body were healing. His spiritual state allowed him to observe every detail of his body. About 3 hours later, the energy dissipated, and he found himself lying on the hospital bed. The final ranking appeared on the optical computer chip, Zhang Li, 11th place. He shook his head, recalling Meng Xingyun's finger. It was like a flying immortal from the heavens, using his finger as a sword to seal all his vitality. Under the boundless blue dome of heaven, who could escape? He got off the bed and stretched his body, and found that his injuries were completely healed. He inwardly praised the power of high-tech medical methods. Although I didn't get into the top 10 this time, it doesn't matter. There's still a long way to go, and sooner or later, I'll raise my cultivation. Zhang Li's mind was calm. He walked into the hall and found that many students had already come out. Obviously, they had been eliminated. Zhang Li, don't tell me you were also eliminated? How is that possible? Serene and Luohan were also in the hall, watching the optical computer on the big screen. When they saw Zhang Li appear, they hurriedly came up to him. It's nothing strange. Cosmic Star University is full of crouching tigers and hidden dragons. It's normal for me to be eliminated. Zhang Li waved his hand. I met Meng Xingyun and lost, so I'm ranked 11th. What a pity. Luohan looked at Zhang Li, a hint of regret in her eyes. If you got 10th place, you would have been treated differently. Anyway, we're all students of Cosmic Star University, and that's enough. Sharin comforted him and pointed with her finger. Look, the battle for the top 10 has begun. Previously, our battles were sealed, but now the battle for the top 10 is open to the public. 10 people will fight. I wonder who will get first place? Zhang Li looked at the big screen on the optical computer. Sure enough, 10 people appeared on the screen. Meng Xingyun and Tang Yin were among them. Besides them, there was an Asian. The other 6 were Caucasians, and the last one was black. 3 yellow, 6 white, and 1 black. From this, it could be seen that the Caucasians still had a certain advantage in terms of vitality. There were also many martial arts experts among them. The Caucasians also had the upper hand in the current situation among humans. The battle has begun. That Meng Xingyun is so powerful, he defeated another opponent. At this time, the battle for the top 10 had already begun. Zhongli stared at Meng Xingyun. This person was too strong, giving him an undefeatable pressure. He wanted to see if this person could outshine others. He saw that he was up against a Caucasian student with a vitality of 2.5, but with just one move of firmament divine swordsmanship. He broke through all of his opponent's defenses with one finger and sent his huge body flying. Then, he was almost invincible, defeating one opponent after another cleanly. Even Tang Yin was defeated by him. In the end, he won in an overwhelming victory and won first place. Amazing, his vitality has probably reached 3. Zhongli shook his head as he watched this battle. Meng Xingyun was definitely the most powerful of all the examinees this time. He had easily obtained victory without the slightest bit of suspense. Could it be that this person really is a spy from another planet? He buried this thought deep in his heart and would observe in secret in the future. The results of the ranking competition were finally out. First place was Meng Xingyun, second was a Caucasian student called Wu Yi, and third was the black student called Ramen. Tang Yin was 5th. As for the remaining Asian student, his name was Ma Yiyuan, and he was ranked 6th. Zhongli looked at him. His vitality was about the same as his, but his battle experience was extremely rich. He had the style of a soldier and a murderous aura. Who knew how many bloody battles he had been through? Students in the top 10, come to the top of the base to receive your medals. The other students may leave. The optical computer sounded. Now, you can choose to cultivate on the Emperor Star and wait for school to start in 3 months. You can also choose to take a warship and jump through a wormhole to return to your planet to report the good news to your family. Remember, in 3 months, your university life will officially begin. The top 10 students would be awarded medals and even have special training waiting for them. The other students had nothing to do. They could choose to cultivate or go home. Zhongli still chose to go home. Although he could absorb the rich spiritual energy of heaven and earth on the Emperor Star, his cells had already stored enough spiritual energy over the past few days. If he absorbed more spiritual energy, he would be in a saturated state and would not be of much use. He might as well go back to Earth to digest it. More importantly, he had to go back and see his parents, in case the Sun and Moon group was desperate. Chapter 109. Zhongli stayed at Starry Sky University's base for another 5 days before returning to Earth. During these 5 days, he had absorbed enough of the spiritual energy of heaven and earth in his body. He tempered himself once more, exchanged martial arts with Wang Changrong, and analyzed the battle with Meng Hengyun over and over again. Of course, in these few days, he also used the school's intranet to buy 2 bottles of Sky-Shaking Thunder Beast gene potions. 20 million per bottle. He spent almost all of Dahe's money. Coming to Starry Sky University, he needed enough money to buy all kinds of good things. But he had the ability to absorb heaven and earth spiritual energy, so he could save a lot of money. Cultivating Dahe was a must. Moreover, he specially looked up the information and found that the Sky-Shaking Thunder Beast gene injection was indeed very effective on felines. There were scientists in the elite area who did such an experiment, but it still needed a lot of drugs. These were all confidential information, but he could look it up and know the various drawbacks of this gene potion, as well as many secret scientific research results. He packed up all the research information on the Sky-Shaking Thunder Beast gene potion and sent it to Dahe for research. Dahe now began to set up his own laboratory to research life genetic science, to increase the possibility of evolution, and from a flying cat to a scientific cat. After not seeing Dahe for so many days, he also missed him, as well as the group of kitty babies. He also spent the rest of his money to buy a lot of supplements for his parents, all of which he would give to them when he returned. Of course, there was another more important reason for returning to Earth, and that was Wang Changrong. Only when he returned to Earth could Wang Changrong come out of the space, contact his old acquaintances, and get a new identity chip. In this society, it was difficult to take a step without an identity chip. Everywhere you went, you had to swipe a card, and the chip represented a person's identity. Under normal circumstances, a prisoner who suddenly appeared could not get an identity chip. Every person's information was entered into the human database and could be checked with the slightest movement. Even if you changed your body, it was impossible to change your own DNA. However, since Wang Changrong said that he had a way, Zhongli could only believe him this time. With his identity as a student of Starry Sky University, even if he did something a little out of line, the law would not be able to punish him. This was his privilege. On this day, he finally boarded the battleship to Earth with Luohan and Serene. On the base of the Emperor Star, there are battleships that go to various human bases. As students of Star Sky University, they can go back and forth at will without paying any fees. One had to know that the cost of a wormhole jump was very expensive. The ticket cost 100,000 or even 100,000. Ordinary people would not be able to afford it, even if they went bankrupt. Lying on the battleship, Zhongli once again felt the spatial energy enter his cells. The space once again expanded by a third. Now, it had turned into a space of 500 square meters and 9 meters in height. Wang Changrong had also benefited a lot from it. After an unknown period of time, the battleship finally stopped on Earth. Zhongli walked out of the Earth base and saw the full moon hanging high in the sky. He felt a sense of closeness. Although there was no spiritual energy on Earth, and materials were relatively scarce, he still loved his hometown. On other planets, he missed Earth every day, raising his head to look at the bright moon, lowering his head to think of his hometown. When he raised his head and couldn't see the bright moon, how lonely would he feel? Jiang Li's feet landed on the ground. He had a joyful impulse to kiss the earth under his feet, but he resisted. He took a bus back to Star City, said goodbye to Luohan and Serene, and went home as soon as possible. "Mom, Dad, I'm back." He sent an email to his parents early and told them the time he would be home. His family was waiting for him. Even Dahe was at home with Flower Mask King and 5 Xiaoming. The situation in the black market has stabilized, and Flower Mask King can come to Star City to do some things at will. Of course, the most important thing is to protect Jiang Li's parents. "Brother, you really got into Starry Sky University. Wow, this is the school uniform. It's so handsome. I've always heard that Starry Sky University's uniform is the most handsome, and now I've finally seen it." His sister Jiang Xian jumped 3 feet high, ran forward with a grin, and kept stroking Jiang Li's school uniform. "Brother is not back yet." Jiang Li looked around and frowned. "No, he's still training. This military training is very long, and we can't contact him. But there are officers in the army who often report to us that he's safe." Jiang Zhendong looked at his son with joy. "Starry Sky University, good, good, Starry Sky University." He didn't know what to say. The thing he had been looking forward to for a lifetime had finally arrived. "Mom, Dad, I brought you a lot of gifts. I bought them from Starry Sky University. Look." He took out a lot of gifts and placed them on the table, dazzling his sister Jiang Xian. "Jiang Li, let's have a good chat." A wave of telepathy was transmitted. It was Dahe. Jiang Li secretly nodded and said to his parents, "I'm going to the backyard to take a look at the group of cats." As he spoke, he and Dahe landed in the backyard. The group of cats saw Jiang Li and started meowing. "Dahe, this is the gene potion of the Sky Tremor Thunder Beast. You've read the information I sent you, right?" Jiang Li said solemnly. "I've read it all, and I've gained some insights." Roar, roar. Dahe shook its paw like a human. Flower Mask King shook its head and walked forward, using its paw to touch Jiang Li's silver-white school uniform, smacking its lips. "Damn, this material is really good. I want one too." "Forget it. You're a cat. Why do you need clothes?" Demeng patted Flower Mask King's butt, indicating for it to move aside. Then, it and Tumeng burrowed into Jiang Li's embrace. Tumeng directly jumped onto Jiang Li's shoulder, using its whiskers to rub his face. These cats could speak, and their hypnosis was also very profound. Let's go. We'll go to the black market now. You want to develop the black market, and I've found you a good helper. A smile appeared on Jiang Li's face. What helper? You'll know when we reach the black market. Jiang Li brought Dahe to the car, and they directly drove to the station. He was not afraid of being followed because his sixth sense was very sensitive, and no one would be able to follow him. After taking the train to the black market, Jiang Li found the headquarters of the Three Dragons Guild and entered the secret room. Then, with a wave of his hand, a spatial door opened, and Wang Changrong impatiently leaped out. Ha ha ha! I, Wang Changrong, have returned to the world once again. Wang Changrong greedily breathed in the air, his expression ecstatic. I'm finally out of that Ned Rakshasa planet. Mr. Changrong, you need an identity now, or you can only stay in the black market for the rest of your life, unable to leave. Jiang Li explained the rules of the black market to Wang Changrong. Black market? Good place. I didn't expect there to be such a lawless place on Earth. Wang Changrong was very excited when he heard this. This kind of place is suitable for me to show off. This cat. He noticed Dahe. Dahe was also staring at him. Bang! The man and the cat retreated at the same time, as if they had a mental battle. Such strong mental power. Wang Changrong's eyes flashed. Is this really a cat? Who are you? Dahe spoke. Such a strong mental power. Are you Jiang Li's friend? All right, Mr. Changrong, this is my cat brother. He has been in the black market for a long time and has enslaved some gang leaders. Now that you two are working together, you can start a business. Jiang Li came up to smooth things over. So that's how it is. This cat is quite magical. Wang Changrong clicked his tongue in wonder, but he was not surprised by a talking cat. His mental cultivation seems to be stronger than yours. Whoosh! Dahe flew up and looked down at Wang Changrong from top to bottom. You are the strongest human I have seen in this black market. Since you are Jiang Li's friend, if we work together, we can definitely dominate the black market. It will be best if we can snatch the sun and moon groups Zhongwu Mecha. Zhongwu Mecha. Wang Changrong's eyes lit up. Good stuff, I want it. Give me an AI. I will contact my people and ask them to make an ID chip for me. Although I haven't contacted them for 20 years, they will definitely help me when I, Wang Changrong, come out. Here. Dahe threw an AI chip to Wang Changrong. Wang Changrong immediately connected to the network and transferred some secret information. He entered some programs and actually had the aura of an AI hacker. Jiang Li and Dahe looked at each other. They did not expect this old man to be so proficient in AI programs. His fingers clicked and entered the depths of the complicated network system. Many data started to flow on it. He sent out many messages. After about 2 hours, the entire AI chip started to vibrate. It seemed like the program inside was being optimized. Citizenship, Wang Changrong, born on Earth, age 62, occupation, soldier, unit, secret. A series of information appeared. This AI chip was transferred into a program and actually became Wang Changrong's citizenship AI chip. In the blink of an eye, he became a secret person in the military and enjoyed special privileges. When Jiang Li saw this change, his eyeballs almost popped out. This power was too great. He changed his identity so quickly, and it was a top secret of the military. This way, it was impossible for many organizations to check his blood type and DNA. However, his Wang Changrong had changed to Wang Changrong. Luckily, my old brothers are still here. Wang Changrong smiled in satisfaction and kept the AI chip. Go take a shower and change my clothes to celebrate my new life. After a while, Wang Changrong appeared again. He had cut off his hair, shaved his beard, and changed his clothes. He was neat and tidy and actually had a kind of sage-like aura. He looked at himself and felt very satisfied. With a little bit of energy, the aura in his body surged, and his vitality increased, surpassing the peak of his peak. Moreover, his spiritual cultivation had already reached the Deding realm. Mr. Changrong, do you want to stay in the black market or follow me back to Xinghua City? Jiang Li asked for his opinion. I will follow you to Xinghua City. Although the black market is a place where I can show my strength, I can kill people casually here. The atmosphere is similar to that on Rakshasa Star. I still want to live a normal life and cleanse my mind. I am afraid that I will be able to go to the next level. Wang Changrong thought for a while. And I also have to go back. There are still many things I need to explain to the security group. Jiangli said, and turned around to leave the black market with Wang Changrong. In fact, he was now in a state of invincibility in the black market. The only thing he was worried about was the sonic mech. If someone used the sonic mech, he would not be able to resist. Chapter 110. With the cooperation of Wang, Changrong, and Dahe, this man and cat would be invincible in the black market. Jiangli could almost see the destruction of the Sun and Moon group in the black market. Especially Wang Changrong. He sent out a few messages to obtain his citizenship, and even changed his name to Wang Kurong. His power was great. It was perfect for him to compete with the Sun and Moon group. DD. A message appeared on the optical computer. Jiangli, you're back? Come to the security building. It was an email from Chu Cece. I'll be right there. Jiangli replied. At this moment, he was on the train, where he saw Wang Changrong casually swipe his chip to verify his identity, and he actually passed. He relaxed. It seemed like the entire human system's citizen database had recognized his identity. From now on, Wang Changrong was a free man. After a while, Jiang Li and Wang Changrong arrived at the mountain on the outskirts of Xinghua City and walked into the security headquarters. Now, Jiang Li was the chief executive here. His status was extremely high. When all the employees saw him come in, they were shocked and showed a look of respect. Hello, Chief Jiang. Chief Jiang, you're finally back. Chief Jiang, let me help you open the door. All the employees on the mountain moved, like troops waiting for the inspection of the head of state. This was not only because Jiang Li was the chief executive of the group, but also because he was a student of Star Sky University. Every student was a legend of mankind. Although Jiang Li didn't get into the top 10, he was a godlike figure in the eyes of many people. The employees of the group rushed to watch. Jiang Li didn't care about this. He had developed a state of mind that was indifferent to praise and humiliation. Chu Cece was already waiting for him at the top floor, in addition to Chu Shan. Jiang Li walked into the hall and saw Chu Shan standing in front of the floor-to-ceiling window. He greeted, Hello, Chairman Chu, why are you here? You've been admitted to Starry Sky University and come back as a student. I must personally welcome you. The headquarters is also very happy about this news. Chu Shan turned around, looked at Jiang Li, and asked without the slightest surprise, You've entered meditation? I was just lucky. In the trial of Starry Sky University, I saw through life and death and reached the karma rank of meditation. Jiang Li told the truth. You killed Yu Muhua and Jiang Lu in the trial? Chu Shan asked again. Yu Muhua's father, Yu Tong, is pressuring our security group, saying that once you come back, he will immediately remove you from your position and kick you out. Otherwise, our security group can forget about settling down in the 36 Hua cities. Wang Changrong, let out a sharp laugh. Two little brats. So what if I kill them? What's the big deal? You are? Chu Shan had already noticed Wang Changrong behind Jiang Li, but because the question was too important, he did not bother to greet him. This is a friend of mine. His name is Wang Kurong. Jiang Li hurriedly introduced. He's a great expert. I invited him to deal with the Sun-Moon group, and at the same time, help the security group get through this crisis. His cultivation has been stabilized, and his vitality is close to 3. Stabilized. Chu Shan's body trembled. So you're a great expert. I'm Chu Shan, the security group's director. Chu Shan did not dare to delay and immediately came up to shake hands. You flatter me. I have a good impression of the security group. I once met your supreme director 30 years ago, the founder, Zhang Anquan. He's an outstanding person, about 10 years younger than me, and is now in his prime. At that time, he told me that he wanted to migrate to the elite area. I wonder if it has come true? Wang Changrong was immersed in his memories. You met our founder? Chu Shan was shocked. He has already migrated to the elite area. 30 years ago, the security group had not been established yet. An old friend is unforgettable. Wang Changrong shook his head and sighed. I can't bear to look back on the past. My old friends have all become dragons among men, and I'm stuck in a hopeless situation, unable to advance. Thinking about it, I'm truly unlucky. But this is fate. There's nothing I can do about it. After hearing 2 sentences, Chushan knew that this Wang Kurong had a great background and was definitely not ordinary. From the handshake, he could also see that this person's vitality was extremely strong, at least 27 or 28. Chushan himself had barely reached 2. Please sit, please sit. He hurriedly invited Wang Changrong to sit in the middle. You're welcome. I'm friends with Jiang Li. If anything happens to him, I'll help him. Wang Changrong waved his hand. A small boss from Beijing dares to point fingers at Zhang Anquan's group. He must be tired of living. That's what we think too. We will definitely not give up on Jiang Li. Chushan turned on the optical computer screen. The board's discussion and the security group's current situation were displayed. Jiang Li, you'll be reporting to Star Sky University in 3 months. In these 3 months, you must completely resolve this matter, destroy the Sun Moon Group, and completely destroy their influence in the black market. That's a must. The black market is a juicy piece of meat. Whoever interferes will earn a lot of money and hold power that cannot be ignored. Jiang Li had long made up his mind. It was also for this reason that he arranged for Dahe to enter. The focal point is that Zhongwu Mech. Chushan's face showed determination and ruthlessness. Because of this matter, the headquarters has also secretly obtained a Zhongwu Mech. It will arrive in the black market in a few days. At that time, who will pilot this mech to fight against the Sun Moon Group, completely destroy the opponent. Naturally, it'll be me. Jiang Li slammed the table. His blood was boiling. A mech battle. This was pure blood and violence. It was perfect to train his willpower and battle experience. This matter is too dangerous. You're a student of Star Sky University. You have a bright future. Chushan tapped on the optical computer. Many virtual videos appeared on it. It was the process of 2 Zhongwu mechs fighting. Mech battles are very dangerous. In the intense battle, both sides will definitely be damaged. At the moment of damage, you have to seize the opportunity or use mental hypnosis to control the enemy. Then let the enemy destroy the mech's activation system from the inside. The 2 mechs simulated the battle. There were various degrees of damage. There were all sorts of situations. Jiang Li remembered them all in his mind. Mr. Kurong, Jiang Li suddenly said to Wang Changrong, I don't know if you're interested in hypnosis to become our security group's chief hypnotist. The 2 of us can conduct an activity together to strengthen the security group's reputation. Now that we're both intermediate hypnotists, we won't be attending normal events to hypnotize ordinary people. But if we conduct a big activity to hypnotize ordinary customers, it will definitely make the security group's hypnosis business popular again. This is a good idea. Chushan praised. I can also participate in this activity. We'll hold it in Beijing. However, Jiang Li, you still need to take the exam for an intermediate hypnotist qualification certificate. I have the qualification certificate. Wang Changrong laughed. I don't need to take the exam again. All right, you guys go and arrange this activity. I'll go home first. Jiang Li talked with Chushan for a while, discussed a series of things, then went home. I'll go to your house to take a look. Wang Changrong only trusted Jiang Li now. He didn't want to have any contact with the security group's people. The 2 of them returned to Bai Long River's villa. Jiang Li settled Wang Changrong down. At the same time, he told his parents that there would be one more guest in their house. He'll be staying for a few days. Jiang Zhendong could also see that Wang Changrong was a big shot. So. Just as the family was talking, the sound of a car landing suddenly came from outside the villa. Jiang Li's mind moved. He walked out of the villa and saw dozens of cars parked outside. Then a group of people came down from the cars. They were all wearing the Sun Moon Group's uniform. The old man Gu Xiong also appeared. He came out, opened the car door, and a big shot walked out. It was Jiang Zhenyue. At this time, Jiang Zhendong also came out. Seeing the scene in front of him, his expression changed. Jiang Zhendong, we meet so soon. Jiang Zhenyue waved his hand. A group of people from the Sun Moon Group behind him surrounded the villa. Jiang Zhenyue, you dare to trespass private property? Jiang Zhendong took a step forward. withstanding Jiang Jinyue's imposing manner. Trespass private property? Gu Xiong walked forward and sneered. The surrounding villas were all bought by our Sun Moon Group. We are the owners of this place. Gu Xiong, don't talk so much nonsense with them. Jiang Jinyue waved his hand to stop Gu Xiong. Suddenly, he stared fiercely at Jiang Li. You are Jiang Li? Yes, what can I do for you? Jiang Li strolled to the balcony of his villa, looked down at the crowd, and replied lazily. Do you know that as a member of the Jiang family, your father has no right to give birth? Jiang Jinyue's eyes were as sharp as a knife. Your birth violated the Jiang family's rules. What are the Jiang family rules? I know the civil law. Every citizen's right to give birth is sacred and inviolable. Jiang Li sneered. What are the Jiang family rules? Good. Jiang Jinyue was so angry that he laughed. Jiang Jindong, do you know what the consequences will be if your son's words are known by the elders in the family? What consequences? Jiang Jindong's expression didn't change at all. My son is already a student of Star Sky University. I don't know if the elders of the Jiang family have the guts to go to Star Sky University to arrest him and punish him. Jiang Jinyue's face darkened. The Jiang family could act like a tyrant in many human cities, but they were powerless against a behemoth like Star Sky University. He looked at the Star Sky University uniform on Jiang Li's body, and his face was so gloomy that it almost dripped water. The Jiang family's rules will naturally be enforced by someone. A little student of Star Sky University is nothing. His eyes suddenly burst out in unprecedented light. Jiang Li, I came here today to ask you one thing. Did you kill my son, Jiang Lu? This was blatantly putting words on the table. Jiang Jindong looked at his son. The look in his eyes was very clear. Even if it is true, don't admit it. Once you admit it, it will be very troublesome. Everyone looked at Jiang Li, waiting to see how he would answer. Jiang Li stood with his hands behind his back, a faint smile on his face, and said slowly, Let me tell you, Jiang Jinyue, your son Jiang Lu was killed by me. I broke all the bones in his body with my palm, and then smashed his head with my foot. I'm afraid his body has already been eaten by the prisoners of Rakshasa Star. What did you say? Jiang Jinyue didn't seem to hear clearly. He couldn't believe that Jiang Li really dared to admit it. Is your hearing so bad? Then I will say it one more time. Listen carefully. Jiang Li's first sentence was calm and carried a hint of mockery, but the next sentence suddenly changed his tone. His voice was like a clap of thunder as he coldly shouted, It was me who killed them. Chapter 111. In the past, Jiang Li had always been afraid of everything. But ever since he entered the state of meditation, went through life and death training, and was admitted to Star Sky University, he gradually became fearless and had a fearless temperament. Although he hadn't developed his own Tao, he would never be intimidated by a few words. With his current status, what could Jiang Jinyue do? Not to mention that he was killed during the exam. Even if they reported it, the Jiang family would go to Star Sky University to collect evidence, investigate, and then report it to Star Sky University first. This was like hitting a stone with an egg. Star Sky University wouldn't care. Ha ha ha! Jiang Jinyue laughed. You have guts. It's good that you dare to admit it. You will regret admitting it today. Let's go. He waved his hand and turned around to get in the car. All the people from the Sun and Moon Group also got in the car and left in a flash. Jiang Jinyue didn't dare to do anything, and the Sun and Moon Group also had to abide by the law. Moreover, Jiang Li wasn't an ordinary person. Killing people during the exam was a matter of course. What was there to be afraid of? We have to move. Jiang Jindong's face was very ugly. Although Jiang Jinyue had left, he knew that they had completely fallen out with each other. Today, Jiang Li's words had been recorded and sent to some old guys in the family. Ali, you are too impulsive. Father, don't worry. Even if I swallow my anger, they will become more aggressive against us. Jiang Lu tried to kill me several times during the exam, but I endured it all. In the end, I couldn't bear it anymore and killed them. We really can't live here anymore. Let's move to the security company immediately. Jiang Li comforted his family. The security company is heavily guarded. I am the CEO, so let's go there first. I will think of a way to move the whole family somewhere else. That's the only way. It's a pity about this villa. Jiang Zhendong stroked the railing. It doesn't matter. It's just a small property. Let's give it up, Jiang Li said. The surrounding area is already Jiang Zhenyue's property. We can't live here anymore. Sigh, that's the only way. Let's go now. The family packed up their belongings and immediately left the White Dragon River Villa. They went to the security company's mountain. This mountain had been completely renovated, and its defense system was better than the villa's. It could be said to be an independent kingdom. The next day, Jiang Li went straight to the capital. He went to the School of Psychic Research and obtained the certificate of an intermediate hypnotist. Although he had killed Yu Muhua and offended the big shots in Beijing, the Mind Research Institute was an independent organization that belonged to the Mind Masters Association in the elite zone. No group or family could interfere with its operations. With his current level of hypnosis, he was able to obtain the Intermediate Hypnotist Qualification Certificate without a hitch. An intermediate hypnotist was a big shot. Even in Beijing, there were very few of them. Therefore, it was very rare for one to appear. It immediately attracted the attention of many people in the Psychic Research Institute. There were even some experts who wanted to recruit Jiang Li into the association. However, when they saw that he was a student of the Starry Sky University, they immediately dropped the idea. At the same time, the attention on Jiang Li decreased. If he could get into the Starry Sky University, it was not surprising that he could become an intermediate hypnotist. Although intermediate hypnotists are precious in the human society, they are not as precious as students of Starry Sky University. After obtaining the Intermediate Hypnotist Qualification Certificate, Jiang Li knew that his value had increased. In the past, he only needed 1,000 star dollars for one hypnosis session. Now it was different. Even if a rich man wanted to hire him, he would need hundreds of thousands of star dollars. Moreover, he might not even be able to hire him. Although he did not have much cash left in his card, he was in trouble. Earning money was not a problem. When he walked out of the Mind Research Institute, a car suddenly stopped in front of him. A young man jumped out and said directly, "You are student Jiang Li, right? Our boss wants to see you." "What kind of person is your boss?" Jiang Li frowned. "You will know when you get there." The young man was very mysterious. He used a commanding tone and said, "Get in the car." "Speak, who is your boss?" Jiang Li asked again. "Rumble." The young man was shocked. His eyes stiffened and he replied mechanically, "Our boss is Yutong. You killed his son. Now, he wants to invite you over to negotiate." "Oh, your boss is so bold. Even if he is the mayor of Beijing, he wouldn't dare to set a trap to deal with me." "Speak, what does he want me to do?" Jiang Li asked again. "Not to kill you. He wants to negotiate with you." The young man was completely hypnotized and said honestly, "You are a student of Starry Sky University. If I kill you, your whole family will suffer a devastating blow. But you killed our boss's son. This is hard to swallow. So, the boss wants to invite you over to compensate you." "Compensate him? That's just wishful thinking." Jiang Li was too lazy to talk to this small character. "Go back and tell your boss that he'd better not have any thoughts of revenge. Otherwise, he will die a horrible death." Yes. The young man immediately got into the car and went back to report. Even if he left Jiang Li, he was still being controlled because Jiang Li's mind was too strong. It directly invaded his mind and enslaved his brain. Before he met a stronger hypnotist, the young man could not resist any of Jiang Li's orders. Beijing City Hall in an office. A dignified, middle-aged man was sitting upright, his fingers tapping on the table, making a metallic sound. A knock was heard. "Come in." The young man came in and said without the slightest politeness, "Yutong, your son is dead. You still want compensation? Don't even think about it." "Huh?" The dignified middle-aged man stood up. He was Yu Muhua's father, Yutong. He was an official in Beijing City Hall and held great power. "You dare to talk to me like this? Wait, are you hypnotized? Wake up." At this moment, a hypnotist appeared behind Yutong. With just a few words, the young man's body trembled, as if waking up from dream. He rubbed his eyes and looked at Yutong in front of him. He was scared out of his wits. "Bastard, useless thing," Yutong scolded. "Mr. Yu, don't scold him. He met an intermediate hypnotist. Naturally, he's no match." the hypnotist said softly with a calming power. The young man was infected by the tone and felt relieved. He quickly retreated. Yutong didn't refute the man's words. There were only two people left in the room, the hypnotist and Yutong. The hypnotist was actually a woman. Her beautiful hair covered her face, and one couldn't see her face. She wore loose clothes that covered her arms and legs. One couldn't see the curves of the female hypnotist's body either. Master, what do you think we should do? Yutong sat down. My son can't die in vain. I want to use this as a condition to make him work for me. Now that this kid isn't coming, I can't go and capture him. After all, his identity is there. You're the only high-level hypnotist in Beijing. You will definitely be able to help me. High-level hypnotist. This mysterious woman was actually a high-level hypnotist. High-level hypnotists could stimulate the human body's potential, turning a weak person into a strong man. They could even turn a stupid person into a retentive person. Such a person was too terrifying. No matter where they went, with just a thought, they could turn a loyal expert into a bloodthirsty demon. They could even control all sentient beings. Although they weren't as terrifying as a super hypnotist, they could definitely destroy a small army. There was only one high-level hypnotist in the entire 36 Hua cities. Obviously, it was this mysterious woman in front of him. I can help you with this matter. I owe you clan a favor. But Jiang Li is a student of Starry Sky University. I can't kill him or turn him into an idiot. The mysterious woman said. I only need Jiang Zhendong to do 10 years of research for my Yu clan. Research the true essence of the sun and moon. We will sell it on the market. Yu Tong grinned. If you don't give my Yu clan this compensation, my son can't die in vain. I will not let them go. Fine. The mysterious woman stood up and walked out leisurely. On the outskirts of Beijing, on another mountain, the headquarters of the security group, Jiang Li, Wang Changrong, and Chu Shan were sipping tea in a pavilion on the top of the mountain. On the mountain, one could see the sea. A cool breeze blew, relaxing the mind. It was the perfect place to discuss tea and cultivate. What a pity. Chu Shan slammed the table. You lost to Meng Xingyun. You didn't get into the top 10 of Starry Sky University. Otherwise, you wouldn't be like this. You just lack luck. He asked for details about Jiang Li's exam results. Hearing that he got the 11th place in the ranking competition, he sighed. That Meng Xingyun is extremely powerful. His firmament God Sword technique has reached perfection. He is proficient in all kinds of martial arts. Chu Shan laughed. His martial arts has truly understood what is called qi. I might not be able to gain the upper hand against him now. I might be defeated by him. Qi. Jiang Li frowned. His martial arts experience was getting deeper, but he still didn't have a deep understanding of the ancient qi. Qi is the combination of the mind and the body. It is a kind of energy combination in the material world. This kind of energy, in ancient Chinese knowledge, is called qi. In ancient yoga, it is called chakra. The understanding of qi cannot be achieved by just relying on the mind. Only by connecting the three realms can one completely control the qi in one's body. The martial arts realm can be raised to another level. Just at this time, a clear and melodious voice passed into the three's ears. It explained faintly. Who is it? Wang Changrong stared and scolded. At this time, the three saw a ball of black qi descending from the sky. Then, a figure appeared. It was a woman wearing a cloak. Her beautiful figure was wrapped in a pitch-black cloak. Her face could not be seen, but from her voice, they could tell that she was a woman. This is a spiritual illusion. Chu Shan's body trembled. This woman is not here. She is far away. Her thoughts came to us. She attacked our hearts and created this illusion. Expert. Jiang Li looked at the woman in front of him. He knew that it was a spiritual projection, but it was vivid. Even if he operated the universe's brain, he could not get rid of the illusion. This was an absolute expert. High-grade hypnotist. Wang Changrong stood up. Why are you wasting your spirit force and using a spiritual projection to converse with us? Nothing much, but I wish to have a chat with this student Jiang Li. The woman was vivid and lifelike. She walked to the front of the three and sat down. She was playing with a teacup. Jiang Li did not see any flaws. It was as though the woman in front of him was real. He even saw the woman picking up the teacup and pouring tea. After that, she drank the tea. Her every action was incomparably real. What are the three bosses doing? Far away, a group of guards was patrolling. They would occasionally look at the three drinking tea on the mountain peak. Suddenly, they discovered that the three of them were facing an empty tea table and talking about something. It was as though they were talking to a ghost. The guards felt strange and their hair stood on end. However, they did not dare to go up and ask. In their eyes, the black-robed woman did not exist. The black-robed woman was far away. Her thoughts extended to Zhongli, Chu Shan, and Wang Changro. Therefore, only the three of them could see her. You are the #1 hypnotist in the 36 Hua cities, the high-grade hypnotist Na Tan. Chu Shan finally knew who she was. Chapter 112. This woman is actually a high-level hypnotist. No wonder she has such great magical power to be able to transmit spiritual illusions into our minds. She's really amazing. Zhongli knew who this woman was. Chu Shan's words hit the nail on the head. 36 Hua City's #1 hypnotist, Na Tan. She was a mysterious person and could be said to be the strongest person in the capital. No martial arts master was her opponent because she could hypnotize you from far away. Rumor has it that her cultivation had reached the state of constant concentration, which meant that the mind would never retreat, always as one, and was about to form a holy embryo. In Buddhism, this was the 8 earthly bodhisattva, unmovable, the will to seek Tao, forever in the heart. Why are you looking for me? Based on his intuition, Zhongli felt that it was not a good thing. I was asked by Yu Tong to reconcile with you. Na Tan's soul image said slowly, of course, Yu Tong can't order me around, because I owe the Yu family a favor. You are a student of Starry Sky University. He won't dare to do anything to you. But you killed Yu Muhua. The Yu family can't tolerate this, so you must compensate. Compensate? What compensation? Zhongli sneered. Although the other party was the #1 hypnotist, but in a society governed by law, he didn't dare to act recklessly, so he had nothing to fear. Yu Muhua tried to kill me time and time again. I couldn't bear it anymore, so I retaliated and killed him. Not to mention in the trial, even if I go to court in the capital, the jury won't convict me of excessive self-defense. Maybe it was justified self-defense. I don't care about that. I'm just a messenger. I'm not interested in discussing right and wrong. Na Tan waved her hand. Yu Tong's condition is that your father, Jiang Zhendong, must work for the Yu family to research the sun and moon essence without any side effects. When the sun and moon essence passes the government's approval and enters the market, the grudge of killing Yu Muhua will be written off. Ha ha! Zhongli laughed instead. What a big tone. What is the sun and moon essence? How can a little Yu Muhua compare? If the real sun and moon essence is developed, the market price will not be calculated in billions. Is Yu Muhua that valuable? Although you were admitted to Starry Sky University, you still don't have the ability to build a laboratory. Na Tan sighed and said, the Yu family represents the entire 36 Hua cities. They are one of the inheritors of the ancient Chinese bloodline. With their full help, your father will definitely be able to do better research. They also have specialized researchers who will cooperate with your father's work. By concentrating the power of the entire Chinese district, they will be able to research the true essence of the sun and the moon. This will not only be of great help to you, but also to the entire Chinese community. You make it sound nice. You want my father to be a laborer? In your dreams. Zhongli still responded with a sneer. Not a laborer. Na Tan threw out a bait. In exchange, your father will get 50% of the shares, and the other half will be divided equally between the Yu family and all the big shots in the capital to be used to build the entire Chinese world. You also know that the current sun and moon essence is flawed and not powerful enough. In fact, the ancient sun and moon essence is extremely powerful and does not belong to the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. If we can develop the real sun and moon essence, the first to benefit will be the Chinese people. The strength of the 36 Hua cities will rapidly expand, causing a leap in the economy, and you can also defeat the Jiang family. The current situation is that your father has the technology, We have the resources, the ability to promote, and the conditions for research. We will fully support your father's research. Isn't it better to combine weapons of war into gifts of jade and silk? I have to say, you are very persuasive. Jiang Li's eyes slightly drooped, but the Jiang family also promised to give my father shares, but they didn't give him any. Promises are bullsh**, and I can also build my own laboratory in the future. Do you think I don't have this ability? Of course you have the ability, but your ability is still very weak. If you want to build a laboratory for your father's research, it will take at least 30 years to reach the scale, and it won't be as good as the conditions in the capital. Na Tan continued to analyze. How many changes will happen in 30 years? Your father is in high demand. The Sun and Moon Group's Jiang family needs him, we also need him, and some white people's forces also need him. Benefits move people's hearts. If you go to Starry Sky University, these people will never let your father go. What Na Tan said was the truth. Jiang Zhendong was a researcher of the Sun and Moon essence and knew a lot of scientific secrets. Many big forces would rather risk their lives to control him. Therefore, Jiang Li was very vigilant. Once the exam was over, he would immediately go home. This proposal, to be fair, is really good. Jiang Li knew that although his status had risen, it was still a fantasy to build a laboratory. To form a scientific research group, not only did he need to gather a wide range of contacts and extremely large funds, but he also needed a lot of power and machinery. The research of the Sun and Moon essence was like the research of nuclear weapons 200 years ago. It was absolutely not something that one or two people could research. It required a huge amount of energy, laboratories, optical computers, and even battleships. Jiang Li didn't have the conditions to build these. He really had to wait for 30 years. And all these conditions were available in the 36 Hua cities. Once they cooperated, the research of the Sun and Moon essence would soon start. However, Jiang Li deeply understood his father's character. He would never cooperate with others. He would rather die in glory than live in dishonor. Moreover, he killed Yumu Hua's son, which would always be a big hatred. He didn't believe that this hatred could be resolved. Hatred was hatred. It was impossible to turn weapons of war into gifts of jade and silk. The hatred of 9 generations could still be avenged. If his father cooperated with this group of people, the results of the research would definitely be eaten up. Moreover, research was equivalent to control, and he would also be controlled. How could he not see this point? However, he couldn't immediately refuse the suggestion of this high-level hypnotist. Otherwise, it would be a naked slap in the face. He was still a little afraid of this kind of person. After a moment of silence, Jiang Li said, "This is a big deal. I have to think about it before I give an answer." "You already refused. Don't brush me off." Naman smiled. "It's impossible to brush me off in front of a high-level hypnotist. Our minds are very clear." "So it's true." Jiang Li smiled faintly. He knew that it was indeed a joke to brush him off in front of such a person. "I will not cooperate with the leaders of the 36 Hua cities. Hatred is hatred, especially for the death of my son. Even if they are willing to resolve it, I won't let my father enter their laboratory. I hope you can understand this. If you want to do anything to me, then come. Although I'm not as strong as you, I can still fight you." After all, Jiang Li really wasn't afraid of the high-level hypnotist. The Phantom Fox hypnotized him, but it backfired. Gu Xiong hypnotized him, but it also backfired. The wizard on planet Kubo hypnotized him, but it also backfired. If Naman tried to hypnotize him, he would also end up in the same situation, although Naman was more powerful than them. All of this was because of the milky white stone. Thinking of the stone, Jiang Li suddenly remembered that he could activate the fire seal of the Great Emperor. What was the secret of the fire seal? Since it was ranked higher than the wind seal and the thunder seal, it must have a more magical effect. Naman laughed. "You and I have no grudges, so I won't do anything to you. I'm only here to persuade you. Since I can't convince you, I'll go back and explain to my family. It's not easy for the Yu family to hire me, so I don't need to explain anything to them. However, I'm actually very curious about you. If you have time, come to my Mandala Island." Bang! Suddenly, Naman exploded and turned into a cloud of black mist, disappearing without a trace. There was nothing in front of him. It was just an illusion. Wang Changrong looked serious. What a powerful woman. She is a dragon among men. She is qualified to immigrate to the elite area. She is the #1 hypnotist in the 36 Hua cities. She is still training hard, trying to break through the realm of Chongding, form the holy embryo, and reach the embryonic breathing realm before going to the elite area. Chu Shan broke out in a cold sweat. If she makes a move, the three of US combined would not be her match. However, she doesn't make enemies easily. She is very powerful, Jiangli said, but I can see that she has no ill intentions towards me. Instead, she invited me to her Mandala Island. You can go with her invitation. Although Namun is a little mysterious, she has a good reputation. She has never done anything evil in the hypnosis circle. Of course, human laws are strict. Even a big shot like her can't do anything evil. Chu Shan nodded. However, what do you think about her conditions? Of course I won't agree to it, Jiangli said firmly. It's a joke to let my father walk into the tiger's mouth. I didn't expect your father to be so important. He is the main researcher of the sun and moon essence. Luckily, the real sun and moon essence was not researched. If not, the Jiang family would sell this medicine to the whole world. The family would be 10 times bigger. I have already reported this matter to the headquarters of the security group. It will soon reach the hands of our founder in the elite area. At that time, he will personally receive your father. Right now, the security group will also send experts to protect your father. Chu Shan immediately said. In Chu Shan's eyes, Jiang Zhendong was more important than Jiangli. The value of a person who could research the real sun and moon essence could only be measured in trillions if he succeeded. The security group had to pay attention. Although Jiangli was valuable, he was far from Jiang Zhendong. Moreover, if the real sun and moon essence was researched and put into the market, the Jiang family's sun and moon essence would become a fake and inferior product. Because the sun and moon essence was still a banned medicine. It could not be put into the market for civilians to use. It could only be circulated through the black market. The real sun and moon essence had no side effects. It could be approved by the government and be patented. The Jiang family's sun and moon essence was not patented. The security group also wanted to eat up this delicious cake. However, Jiang Li still trusted the security group for now. Of course, he had to be on guard against any schemes. Although Chu Shan and Chu Cece wouldn't do anything underhanded, there was no guarantee that there would be other directors in the security group who would be interested in the benefits. Wang Changrong and Dahe were his trump cards. Especially Dahe. Dahe was getting stronger and stronger. As long as he had the sky-shaking Thunder Beast gene potion, he would continue to evolve. Sooner or later, he would be as strong as the sky-shaking Thunder Beast. At that time, he would be an existence that surpassed a mid-martial mecha. Chapter 113. After admitting to killing Jiang Zhenyue's son and rejecting Yu Muhua's recruitment, Jiang Li knew that he had already formed a deep enmity with the two major powers. However, he did not care. As long as he was strong, no one could do anything to him. Following that, the security organization organized a spiritual treatment event in Beijing. They invited him, Wang Changrong, and Chu Shan to attend as a gift to the security organization's clients. 3 intermediate hypnotists would only cost 3,000 star dollars to hypnotize a person. One must know that a beginner hypnotist would cost 1,000 star dollars to hypnotize a person. An intermediate hypnotist could no longer be calculated with money. Now that the security organization was hosting this event, all of their clients will be able to enjoy the hypnosis of intermediate hypnotists for only 3,000 star dollars. This was simply a gift. Of course, no business would make a loss. This event could greatly increase the security organization's reputation and attract more high-end clients. However, beginner hypnotists were called hypnosis, while intermediate hypnotists were called blessing. Usually, people would say that a certain master had blessed them. That was because an intermediate hypnotist would hypnotize them. Because a beginner hypnotist could only make someone fall into a deep sleep. At most, it would be a deep sleep with a quality of 100 points. But an intermediate hypnotist could make a person's sleep quality reach 200, 300, or even 500 points. They could even regulate the body's endocrine system and cleanse the internal circulation. A single hypnosis could make a person radiant and was more effective than any medicine. Zhongli. This is the knowledge of the various cycles of the human body's endocrine system. Also, it's how mid-ranked hypnotists use their thoughts to control other people's thoughts and regulate the human body's endocrine system. Although you have become a mid-ranked hypnotist and can kill someone with a single thought, we're now hypnotizing others and regulating their bodies. Chu Shan sent a mail to Zhongli. On the optical computer chip, it was about the various practices of intermediate hypnotists. Healing, saving. When Wang Changrong heard this, his heart was moved. That's right, intermediate hypnotists could change a person's thoughts and cause them to commit suicide, go insane, and hallucinate. It was as though they were being haunted by evil spirits. But they could also be used to save people, allowing them to comprehend the true meaning of movement and stillness. They could feel the power of the spirit and step onto the path of cultivation. This was saving. Killing someone was easy. It could be done with just a thought. It was difficult to save people. On Rakshasa Star, I killed people like scything flax and even ate them. Now, I'm actually starting to save people. Life is really wonderful. Wang Changrong's whole body and temperament suddenly changed. He actually looked like an immortal. Vaguely, one could see the compassion in his eyes. Jiang Li and Chu Shan immediately sensed something strange. They looked at each other. Most likely, Wang Changrong's spirit had a breakthrough and was in a state of enlightenment. Among the three of them, Wang Changrong's cultivation was the most profound. Be it his life force or spiritual cultivation, he had long reached the grand meditation realm. Moreover, his life experience was the richest. He was born into a martial arts family in his early years, and then he joined the resistance. Then, there was a big change, and he was imprisoned on Rakshasa Star for 10 years. He almost became a demon in hell, living by eating people. Now that he had returned to the light society, he began to save people. This was simply a living legendary epic. This kind of life experience made his spirit strong, and after experiencing the vicissitudes of life, he was able to comprehend a higher realm. Let's go save people. Wang Changrong waved his hand, a smile on his face. Zhongli unexpectedly felt a sense of saving people from suffering. You broke through and reached the eternal meditation realm. You achieved the immovable ground. Your heart no longer regressed. Zhongli asked doubtfully. No. How could it be so easy to reach the eternal meditation realm? Wang Changrong shook his head and sighed. It's just that my heart touched something, and I had some enlightenment. Zhongli thoughtfully began to learn how to use his powerful mind to hypnotize and regulate the endocrine system of others. He was a knowledgeable person, and to be admitted to Starry Sky University, he must be outstanding in chemistry. Medicine and human anatomy were subjects that must be tested. In the past few hours, he had read some of the materials clearly and memorized them by heart. At this time, a staff member hurriedly came in. 3 masters. Everything is ready. Our security company's customers are waiting in the hall. There's a sea of people. There's no need to explain. I've organized this kind of event many times. Chu Shan stopped the staff member from continuing and turned his head. Jiang Li, let's go. Your identity has brought you a lot of popularity. It might be a little tiring this time, but it's time for you to show your strength. I know. Jiang Li's mind had already extended out. The 3 of them walked out of the building and rode a flying car to the square at the foot of the mountain. Sure enough, there was a sea of people, and there were many flying cars in the sky. News vehicles were flying back and forth. Although this was a commercial event, it was rare for 3 intermediate hypnotists to work together, so it was a big news sensation. Especially Jiang Li's identity. He had just entered Starry Sky University, so it was the focus of the news. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. The cameras of the news vehicles in the capital pointed at Jiang Li, Chu Shan, and Wang Changrong as they stepped out of the vehicles. 3 intermediate hypnotists have appeared. Let me introduce them to everyone. This time, there are 3 masters. One of them I'm sure everyone is familiar with. He is a student admitted to Starry Sky University, student Jiang Li. Student Jiang Li was born in an ordinary family, but he is brimming with talent. After a long introduction of Jiang Li, the camera turned to Wang Changrong. This is the security company's mystery guest, Mr. Wang Kurong. Rumor has it that his spiritual cultivation has already been completed, and he obtained the intermediate hypnotist qualification certificate many years ago. The other one is one of the security company's directors, Mr. Chu Shan. Many news vehicles were broadcasting live, and at this time, the people of 36 Hua cities could directly turn on their optical computer to watch the live broadcast. It was Jiang Li's first time facing these cameras, but his spiritual cultivation was not bad, and he had seen big scenes before, so he was not surprised. He came to the square. The security company's staff had already prepared the venue, separated the people, and built a high platform. Then in the open air, they invited people to line up one by one to receive the blessing. 3 high platforms, one for each person. Jiang Li walked up the high platform, and the staff arranged for 10 clients to come up. These people were all famous people, and under the watchful eyes of the public, they greeted Jiang Li, not daring to be negligent. "Student Jiang Li, please bless us." One of the middle-aged men said, "I am the president of the capital's daily news agency. After this personal experience, I will go back and write a report. Let everyone know your name." Thunder. Jiang Li did not answer his words, but his hands suddenly formed a seal, sending out a thunderous vibration. In an instant, the 10 people on the stage all trembled and then made the same posture. Both hands formed a seal, then walked down the high platform, sat on the ground, and entered a deep sleep. Immediately, the news personnel and the security company staff went up to test. Entering a deep sleep index of 500, body endocrine in a highly coordinated state. A doctor cooperated with the examination and then made a live report. At this time, many news cameras were recording close-up shots of these 10 people. Every one of them who was hypnotized was sitting on the ground with their hands forming seals. They were in a strange state. Their bodies seemed to be in a thunderous state. Everyone's face showed an expression of understanding. It was as if they had been hit in the head. Everyone could feel a word from their expressions. This word was Zen. They were calm, they were enlightened, and they had obtained a kind of peace. Everyone, this is the hypnosis ability of student Jiang Li. It's too scary. I have done an interview with intermediate hypnotists, and their hypnotized people's deep sleep index is only 300 to 400. Now, student Jiang Li has reached 500 for every person he hypnotized. And look at the expressions of these hypnotized people. It seems that all of them have comprehended something and are cultivating. Their body circulation and breath have changed, and they're in a state similar to the tiger-leopard thunder sound in the martial arts realm. A news reporter was reporting excitedly on the spot. Jiang Li did not change his expression and kept asking his clients to come on stage. Then, with a hand seal and a sound, these people made the same action as him, automatically walked down the stage, sat on the ground, and began to cultivate and sleep. He knew that this was to enlighten people. Every hypnotized person made their mind peaceful, understood, and dispelled the dark clouds in their hearts. He felt like a Buddha who was preaching, blessing, and relieving the suffering of the world and enlightening all living beings. All the cruelty, evil, jealousy, and other negative emotions disappeared. He felt that what he was doing was indeed sacred and great. The reality was indeed like this. Every person who was hypnotized would have spiritual and physical benefits. This guy is so strong. At the same time, on an island in the capital, which was the base of the Sun and Moon Corporation, Zhang Jinyue and Gu Xiong were also watching this business activity. Gu Xiong looked at Jiang Li's continuous hypnosis, and his face turned pale. His spiritual power is so strong. He can hypnotize so many people, and he is still calm and composed. His brain cells are simply heaven-defying. I've already reported his words to the elders in the family. They're furious. They have already arranged for people to deal with this guy. Zhang Jinyue returned to normal. He had already recovered from the grievous news of his son's death. He was no longer hysterical, but very calm. What do the elders say? He is a student of Starry Sky University, and he is not easy to deal with. Gu Xiong's lips were dry. I'm afraid he can even hypnotize me now. Our Jiang family also has students in Starry Sky University. There are many trials in Starry Sky University, and he is just a freshman. We can find an opportunity to kill him in the trial. He killed my son in the trial, and he is destined to be killed. Jiang Jinyue closed his eyes. After we kill him, we will capture Jiang Jinyue. We have to think about it carefully. Don't forget that he still has a mysterious son, Jiang Tao. Gu Xiong hurriedly reminded. Although that Jiang Tao is mysterious, his influence is not big. He is far from the current Jiang Li. After we capture Jiang Zhendong, he won't be able to stir up any big waves. Jiang Jinyue slammed the table. The security organization is doing this activity to increase their influence. Pass down my order. In the black market, wipe out the security organization, destroy their industries, and drive them out of the black market. Chapter 114. Under Jiang Jinyue's command, he prepared to sweep away all the assets and influence of the security group in the black market. Gu Xiong, who was at the side, stared at the screen. Suddenly, he stood up and exclaimed, "How is this possible? How is this possible? Eternal stability, this is the realm of eternal stability, the 8 earthly bodhisattva. What eternal stability?" Jiang Jinyue was startled by Gu Xiong and was about to reprimand him. However, following Gu Xiong's gaze, he saw the scene being broadcasted on the big screen and became silent. On the screen, Wang Changrong was performing hypnosis. In this event, there were 3 hypnotists, Jiang Li, Chu Shan, and Wang Changrong. After reporting on Jiang Li, it was time to report on Wang Changrong. All the news reports were switched to Wang Changrong's body. At first, he just caressed people's heads, making them feel peaceful and happy in their sleep. However, as he hypnotized more and more people, he seemed to have gained some understanding of his spiritual realm. He actually had a feeling of putting down the butcher's knife and becoming a Buddha on the spot. Wang Changrong walked down the stage and directly entered the crowd. He put his palms together and murmured, which seemed to be chanting Sanskrit, Taoist words, and also like singing and chanting. Originally, there was a sea of people at the scene. They all wanted to be blessed by an intermediate hypnotist, so it was very crowded. Many security guards and staff were needed to maintain order. Wang Changrong couldn't leave the stage, otherwise it would cause a huge commotion. But now, when he walked down the stage, with himself as the center, there seemed to be a strong influence spreading out. Everyone copied him, put their palms together, and sat on the ground, no longer making a commotion, but murmured and murmured. These people were all hypnotized, and they kept repeating the same sentence. Completely eliminate the tiny seeds of the obstacles of worry and all the stubbornness of the obstacles of knowledge. Therefore, they will no longer be moved and will be named unmovable ground. Attaining the 8 earthly bodhisattva, the heart of seeking Tao, will forever remain in the heart. Eliminate the tiny seeds of the obstacles of worry and all the stubbornness of the obstacles of knowledge. Their heart of seeking Tao will no longer be moved, and they will be the 8 earthly bodhisattva. At this moment, Wang Changrong had advanced to the realm of eternal stability. He truly understood the true meaning of permanence and impermanence. In the Great Compassion Sutra, upon hearing the Great Compassion Mantra, Guanyin Bodhisattva was immediately promoted from the beginner Bodhisattva to the 8-fold Bodhisattva. However, Guanyin Bodhisattva had already become a Buddha in her past life. Her Dharma name was Righteous Dharma Ming Tathagata. In this world, due to karma, she became a Bodhisattva to demonstrate the realm to the world. Now that Wang Changrong had come out of the Rakshasa star, he had freed himself from his murderous spirit and started to lead people. He had reached the realm of Bodhisattva in the 8 earthly realms. In other words, there were 3 fixed, and the last fixed, the constant fixed. Wherever he went, the people there would sit down with their palms clasped together, entering a state of tranquility and peace. There were no gestures, no movements. It was as if wherever he went, the filthy earth of the mortal world would become a pure land of bliss. Everyone's worries were cut off by him, and they entered a state of great joy and peace. Dong. A few staff members and doctors were also infected by him. The sleep detector in their hands fell to the ground, and a sleep index of 1 appeared on it, far surpassing Jiang Li. At this moment, many people who were watching the news were shocked. They didn't expect such a situation to occur in this business event. An intermediate hypnotist had advanced to the realm of eternal stability, which meant that he was an advanced hypnotist. On a beautiful island in the sea, a beautiful woman wrapped in a silk dress was also very happy to see Wang Changrong achieve enlightenment. Not only would the realm of the mind improve by leaps and bounds, but more importantly, it wouldn't regress, and his mood wouldn't be affected by anything. For example, if someone killed Jiang Li's father and mother, he would definitely lose his normal state and be unable to remain calm. If he encountered something more tragic, then his mind might regress to a deep sleep due to the mental stimulation, or even become an ordinary person, completely decadent. But Wang Changrong wouldn't. Even if the world was destroyed, he would see it as a dream, and his mind would never move, fixed at that moment. The people watching the live broadcast in all 36 Huacheng were shocked. This was big news. They had witnessed the birth of an advanced hypnotist. Such a person, the human government would definitely regard him as a master among masters, because one person was equivalent to an army. Wherever he went, with him as the center, the people around him would be hypnotized. This event had completely become Wang Changrong's one-man show. Jiang Li and Chu Shan were the supporting characters, but the two were very happy, and they looked at each other. The effect of this event was at least 10 times bigger than expected. It could be seen that after the event, countless people would join the security organization. Advanced hypnotist. On the island, Jiang Jinhua slumped back into his chair, his face a little dejected. Such a thing had actually happened to the security organization. Advanced hypnotists weren't people like Chu Shan and Gu Xiong could compare with. Such people were extremely lethal. If they went to the black market, they could easily hypnotize the experts who were behind them, and they would directly attack the Sun Moon Corporation. Even the employees of the Sun Moon Corporation would rebel and try to assassinate them. Such people couldn't be offended, because it was impossible to defend against them. They didn't even need to appear at the scene, and suddenly, a group of people would jump up and attack you. It was difficult for the police to obtain evidence. For example, if you were in the office and a loyal bodyguard suddenly shot you and killed you, and then committed suicide, what evidence could the police obtain? Although technology was advanced now, it was still impossible to find out if someone hypnotized someone to assassinate the enemy, because the mind was originally invisible. But normally, people who had reached such a realm wouldn't scheme and assassinate the enemy. Every one of them was high and mighty, and they could immobilize the enemy with just a word. When the event finally ended, Jiang Li and Chu Shan left unscathed and went to rest early. Wang Changrong was surrounded by reporters, but he didn't accept the interview. Instead, he put his palms together and walked out, and all the reporters automatically dispersed. With him as the center, wherever his mind went, all sentient beings could be subdued. This matter is really perfect. No one expected Brother Ku Rong to directly achieve Chongding. I really admire you. In a small pavilion on the top of the security organization's mountain, the three of them were enjoying the peace. Chu Shan couldn't hide the excitement on his face. It's too late. Wang Changrong's expression remained the same. This day came too late. Jiang Li was trying to understand his mental state. This time, he hypnotized 2,000 clients, while Chu Shan hypnotized about 200. The number of people he hypnotized was 10 times more than Chu Shan. In other words, his brain cells were 10 times more powerful than Chu Shan's. At that moment, a staff member reported to Chu Shan, "Director Chu, there's news that the Sun and Moon Group has started to withdraw from the black market. Jiang Jinhua has left Beijing on a battleship and is heading to the moon base." Oh, haha, that's great news. Although Chu Shan had expected this, he was still surprised that Jiang Jinhua withdrew so quickly. Brother Ku Rong's advancement to Chongding must have scared him. That's good too. It saves us a lot of trouble. But as soon as the Sun and Moon Group leaves, the supply of Sun and Moon essence will dry up. The black market will return to how it was before. Zhongli smiled. But I don't think the Sun and Moon group will leave so easily. They must have left some trump cards in the dark, and they're just avoiding us temporarily. Fortunately, they won't dare to be arrogant recently. We'll unleash our full strength in these 3 months. I'll also take the opportunity to increase my cultivation base so that I can suppress everyone when I return to Starsky University. I didn't get into the top 10 this time, so I've been suppressing myself. Indeed, now that the Sun and Moon group's hidden danger has been resolved, you can cultivate well too. The more outstanding you are, the better our security organization will be. Chushan smiled and stood up. Mr. Ku Rong, our security organization is hiring you as Capital City's chief executive officer. You'll be in charge of all the affairs in the 36 cities. Your annual salary will be 30 million star dollars, and you'll also receive dividends. What do you think? Sure, it's my honor. Wang Kurong's expression didn't change, and he agreed without thinking. No one knew what he was thinking at that moment. After everything was settled, Zhongli heaved a sigh of relief. Next up would be 3 months of cultivation. Originally, he had wanted to compete with the Sun and Moon Corporation, but now that Wang Changrong had directly advanced to a high-level hypnotist and the other party had run away, he could rest and recuperate in peace. It's time to cultivate the Great Emperor Fire Seal. If he wanted to increase his strength rapidly, the only way was to cultivate the Great Emperor Fire Seal. I wonder what's the secret of this martial art? Late at night, he sat in the secret room of the Capital City Security Organization's headquarters and began to meditate. He sent his mental power into the milky white stone and entered a dream. Dream for thousands of autumns. What year is it today? The man in white appeared again. Do you want to cultivate the Great Emperor Fire Seal? Once activated, your mental power will be weak for 30 days. What? Wasn't it 49 days in the past? Zhongli was puzzled. Your cultivation is much more profound, so the period of weakness will be reduced. The man in white's tone was emotionless, and he asked again, do you want to activate it? Yes. Zhongli answered without hesitation. Boom. He felt that the whole world was shaking, and something in his brain cells seemed to be extracted as the energy to activate it. His spirit was on the verge of collapse, and he was very weak. However, he still patiently watched the cultivation of the Great Emperor Fire Seal. Fire is the source of all civilization, and its greatest use is to refine. Any human who knows how to use fire will be able to eat cooked food, which will reduce the burden on their stomach, and obtain more vitality, which will open up the wisdom of the brain. Fire can also destroy everything and burn everything. After you learn the Great Emperor Fire Seal, your appetite will increase tenfold, and your digestive ability will also increase tenfold. Your strength will increase greatly, and your refining ability will be different from before. Your life essence will also be improved. Chapter 115. The main function of the Great Emperor's Fire Seal was to refine. Fire was the #1 energy in the world. Without fire, humans wouldn't have progressed, and intelligent life wouldn't have been able to develop. Everything originated from fire. The sun was a giant fireball, and the heat waves it emitted created wind, rain, thunder, lightning, and all other phenomena in the world. With fire, humans could eat cooked food. With fire, humans could melt ores, extract metals, and create tools. Finally, they would develop into machines. Fire was indeed the source of all things. The true meaning of fire and the understanding of fire were transmitted to Jiang Li's heart. His understanding of fire rose to a new level. Fire represented the origin of light. It wasn't just burning and destroying. Without fire, there wouldn't be light. Humans were still eating raw meat and drinking blood. This was the root of the Great Emperor's Fire Seal. Boom! The middle-aged man began to meditate and impart the cultivation of the Great Emperor's Fire Seal. The brain of the universe flickered above his head, and his brain cells operated to the extreme. Then, sparks appeared. At first, there were sparks of intelligence. Then, all kinds of flames spread across the universe. Some flames were giant fireballs floating in the air. They were stars. Some of the flames were like tiny fireflies, drifting and indistinct, giving off a unique feeling. Among them were fire dragons, fire horses, fire oxen, and all sorts of other types of fire that existed in the world. This was a world of fire. There were even fire giants. In the end, a giant god of fire was born. He held a fire dragon in his hand and stepped on a fire elephant. Everywhere he went, space, planets, and black holes turned into a world of fire. As he meditated, the man in white made all kinds of gestures. His whole body was like a burning ball of fire, and his hand gestures were like flames rising and flickering. After an unknown amount of time, the great emperor's fire seal was imparted. Zhongli woke up from the dream. He felt dizzy and very weak. In order to cultivate the great emperor's fire seal, he had used up too much mental energy. He couldn't meditate or his brain cells would be damaged in the next 30 days. Is this the great emperor's fire seal? I have to ask Wang Changrong about his cultivation method. Taoism has the true samadhi fire cultivation method, which is also a form of meditation. Even the heart cultivation of the ape technique has meditation flames. My understanding of this kind of cultivation is far from Wang Changrong's, so it would be more appropriate to ask him. Zhongli slept peacefully. Early the next morning, he contacted Wang Changrong and went to the highest peak of the security company. What happened to you that your brain cells actually started to wither? As soon as they met, Wang Changrong's eyes were sharp. He immediately noticed that Jiang Li's spiritual energy was in an extremely weak state. Because I've activated a seal technique called the Great Emperor's Fire Seal. Jiang Li didn't hide it. Wang Changrong knew about his milky white stone space. I came to find you today. You came to ask me about the practice of fire. Taoist, samadhi, true fire, and meditation flame. What are the main points? Sit down. Wang Changrong's temperament changed. It was as if he had been reborn. He was wearing a loose yoga suit. It was pure white and gave off the feeling of a benevolent white lotus. His whole person was like a sutra. In front of him was a Buddhist sutra. It was the Great Compassion Sutra. It was an ancient paper book. Wang Changrong didn't look old at all. His skin was shiny. He had actually turned from old to middle-aged, as if he was beginning to regain his youth. Once he had an epiphany, he was immediately different. His body began to transform. Zhongli sat down cross-legged. He didn't know why, but as soon as he got close to Wang Changrong, he felt a sense of peace and tranquility. The weakness in his mind also improved a lot. This was Wang Changrong using his supreme thoughts to repair his mind. I have seen your great emperor's thunder seal and great emperor's wind seal. They are indeed peerless martial arts that have not appeared in the world. Now, you have started to cultivate the great emperor's fire seal. Taoism has the five thunder technique and also the samadhi true fire. Generally speaking, the cultivation of meditation flames has existed since ancient times. There is a sect of flame in East Ming City. The worship of flames will appear in any Ming city. The power of flames is too great and too vast. It's not something the human heart can control. Wang Changrong said, there are different understandings of fire. Some understand it as light, some understand it as wisdom, some understand it as destruction, and some understand it as light. It's all-encompassing, but they all lead to the same goal through different means. Shakyamuni Buddha once worshipped Dipamkara Buddha. The meaning of Dipamkara is to light a lamp to illuminate the three worlds. The samadhi true fire you mentioned just now is called samadhi in Sanskrit. When translated, it means concentration. The samadhi true fire is to emit light in the realm of concentration and dispel the darkness in the mind. How should one cultivate it? Zhongli asked concisely. He knew that Wang Changrong would definitely be able to give him the best explanation. Wang Changrong was in the realm of constant concentration and had attained the 8 earthly immovable land. Everything was within the grasp of the heart. Everyone has their own methods. Wang Changrong didn't seem to need to think before answering. For example, the furnace refinement of the heart of the ape art. Using one's body as a furnace, one would meditate on the flames and drill into one's acupoints, refining the heart of the ape art into a jindan. This kind of meditation coincides with the endocrine regulation of one's body. When one meditates on the flames, one's internal organs will heat up and receive a good adjustment, strengthening one's body. Over time, one's body will become a pill furnace that can melt all kinds of substances. In ancient times, there were alchemists who could even swallow stones to wear down the qi in their stomachs. I understand. Jiang Li understood. What other methods are there regarding the cultivation of the ancient true fire? Most probably, there are those that visualize fire dragons, fire cranes, and also the fire lord of the great sun, illuminating one's body. Regardless of Taoism or Buddhism, they all have fire deities. The Buddha's Vairocana is the target that many Buddhists visualize. Wang Changrong waved his hand, and instantly, all sorts of fire deities appeared in front of Jiang Li. A Vairocana appeared in the air and emitted boundless rays of light. The piercing golden light caused Jiang Li to be unable to open his eyes. The gilded, golden flames incessantly stimulated his entire body. Right now, with Wang Changrong's cultivation, with just a slight wave of his hand, he could summon all sorts of deities and Buddhas, deeply engraving them into the hearts of everyone. Controlling one's mental state was as easy as pie. Even a character like Chu Shan wouldn't be able to differentiate between reality and illusion. At that moment, Wang Changrong waved his hand and displayed all sorts of illusions for Jiang Li. All sorts of deities appeared one after another. It was as though a single thought could produce tens of thousands of deities. Even the Western fire god, the ancient Greek sun god, the blazing angel, the platinum flame. At the same time, he explained a relationship between the meditation flames and the human body. For example, when meditating on a certain organ to produce flames, the blood in the body would gather, and as it surged, it would erupt with heat energy, causing the organ to become stronger. The adjustment of fire and water was extremely important, otherwise one would go berserk. The term berserk is used for meditation flames cultivation. Berserk means that one does not control the fire in the heart well and will ultimately go berserk. You must be careful, no matter what kind of flame you cultivate deep in your heart. You must not lose a single bit of clarity. Wang Changrong cautiously warned at the end, I have already helped you recover your dispirited mental state. You can start cultivating now. As expected, Jiang Li felt that after conversing with Wang Changrong, his mental state was no longer fatigued, and his brain cells seemed to have been injected with a form of vitality, causing his mental state to be uplifted. It was rumored that there were ancient monks who could wake people up with a single word, and with a single word of truth, they could cause a dispirited patient to be filled with vigor. Now, Wang Changrong was the same. Truly powerful. I wonder when I will be able to reach this realm. Jiang Li exclaimed, This realm is very painful. In order to survive on Rakshasa planet, you have to eat people. Can you eat people? Wang Changrong said lightly. At that time, I had already fallen into the Azura path and became a demon. In the long run, I will become worse, and I will become a demon among demons, eventually becoming an existence like Rakshasa beast. It was you who saved me from hell and brought me here. I used hypnosis to save people, and only then did I finally comprehend it. From eating people to saving people. This process is a struggle in the sea of bitterness. Eating people is not a sin, and saving people is not a blessing. Everything is due to karma. Don't worry, when I fell into depravity, you saved me from the sea of bitterness. When you are obsessed, I should also save you. In the vast universe, we should save each other. I'll redeem you, and you'll redeem me. Jiang Li had a deeper understanding. He understood that Wang Changrong had indeed stepped into another realm and changed from Azura to Bodhisattva. The Diamond Sutra says that from human to Buddha is just a change of mind. When evil thoughts are born, you are a demon. When righteous thoughts are born, you are a Buddha. Wang Changrong flipped through the sutra. The cause of Guanyin Bodhisattva's promotion from the beginner Bodhisattva to the eightfold Bodhisattva is to tell the world that once the mind is enlightened, the world will change instantly. Go, if there are any problems in cultivation, we could discuss them together. Okay, I'm going. Jiang Li nodded and immediately got up to leave without any hesitation. He understood Wang Changrong's heart. This person had entered a vast and unfathomable realm. If it were him, he would not be able to eat people and then save people, but he could choose another path to become the eightfold bodhisattva. Next, he kept practicing the great emperor's fire seal, various postures, meditation, and all kinds of crazy training. Sure enough, after a period of training, his appetite increased greatly. He actually had to take almost 1 kilogram of nutrient drinks and more than 20 bottles of sun and moon essence every day. Ordinary experts would take dozens of grams of nutrient drinks every day. His body began to absorb nutrients on a large scale, and the spirit energy stored in his body began to be refined into vitality. In just 2 months, his vitality broke through to 25. Moreover, the wind and thunder seals also improved greatly. This was because the fire seal greatly increased his ability to absorb nutrients, and his vitality was further enhanced, causing the speed of the wind and the attack power of the thunder to increase greatly. It was the same for the entire earth. Without the energy brought by the sun's fire, wind and thunder could not be born. Therefore, fire was the root of everything. Chapter 116. Hi. In the large combat training room, loud noises rang out. This training room was 10,000 square meters, and it was specially made for one person to train. This was the treatment that Zhongli received in the security group. He was the CEO of Star City Security Group and was already a high-level executive. Moreover, he was an important target to be trained, and he could mobilize many resources. He came and went like the wind as he attacked. In a single punch, the shock waves surged and actually forced a mech to retreat. In this training room that was 10,000 square meters, he was fighting against a few low-level mechs. The ones controlling the mechs were also soldiers from the security group. Now, Zhongli was using the mech to train his combat strength. After a person's cultivation exceeded 2, they had to train against mechs. Since the development of human science, human vitality had increased. Thus, the battle between the human body and machinery had become an eternal topic. Of course, now technology and machinery had the absolute advantage. Because of the wormhole jump, even if one's vitality reached 3 digits and one's soul could reach the vision domain realm, it was impossible for one to jump through a wormhole and go from one planet to another. For example, an expert with 3 digits of vitality could move mountains, but at most he could jump from Earth to the moon. He would be as tired as a dead dog, and it was impossible for him to travel out of the solar system. Of course, they wouldn't die in vacuum, and even if they floated in space, they could still survive. But to jump from Earth to the moon with just the body, that was already a heaven-defying divine ability. Human technology was advancing, and so was the cultivation of the body. Sooner or later, it would reach a heaven-defying realm. Dang! Under the control of a mech, its speed reached 50 meters per second. It directly appeared above Jiang Li's head and heavily smashed down. Jiang Li roared into the sky. His heart was filled with excitement. The great emperor's lightning seal flashed like a dragon, and one could almost see lightning striking down. The metal arm and the flesh arm clashed intensely. Jiang Li didn't move at all, but the metal mech's body was covered in cracks. It fell to the ground from the impact. 8 storms. Jiang Li's body shook, and in a flash, many shadows appeared around the metal mecha. The shadows of fists were densely packed, and each punch had a force of several tons. They bombarded the mecha like a storm. Kacha kacha! Countless cracks appeared on the mecha. Jiang Li suddenly grabbed and slapped. His entire body exploded like flames. He used his strength to the extreme, and the metal mecha split apart with a loud bang. It was actually torn apart by his bare hands. The person operating the mecha was stunned. He stared blankly at Jiang Li. To be able to dismantle a mecha with his bare hands, he was simply not human. Stop! Don't fight anymore. Although these mecha are not battle mecha, they are still training mecha. Every one of them is very precious. It's a waste to dismantle them with your bare hands. Chu Cece walked in and said, Jiang Li, your cultivation level has increased a lot recently. Yes, it has increased a lot. It's about 25% now. Jiang Li put on his clothes and came up to him. When he saw Chu Cece coming in, he put on another set of clothes. It seems like your cultivation level has increased by leaps and bounds. I've been guided by Mr. Kurong and comprehended something, so I'll probably meditate soon. Chu Cece chuckled. Mr. Kurong is really a scholar. He has already taken your sister as his disciple. 3 years later, your sister will definitely be admitted to Star Sky University. Mr. Kurong was Wang Changrong. Once he was enlightened, his cultivation level increased at the speed of a rocket. But he was different from Na Man. Na Man usually didn't show himself and was very mysterious. But during these 2 months, he went around helping people, giving them blessings and doing good deeds. From the officials of the 36 Hua cities to the most ordinary civilians, he could hypnotize them. Moreover, the money he gave was completely up to fate. He could give as much as he wanted. Of course, the number of people he could help each day was limited to 3,000. Anyone could sign up on the security group's website and then be randomly selected by the optical computer. It was completely up to luck. If one was lucky enough, they could get his blessing. Thus, he became a most popular and respected master in the 36 Hua cities. Jiangli knew that he ate people on Rakshasa Star and fell into the Azura path. He was saved by Jiangli and returned to the mortal world. This kind of behavior was to resolve the karma of eating people. It's karma, not a sin. Eating people was the karma of the mortal world. Helping people was to cut off the karma of the mortal world. This subtle feeling was the key to enlightenment. Jiangli, on the other hand, followed the rules and performed hypnosis every day in Hua Star City. Every morning, he hypnotized 3,000 people, and each person had to pay 3,000 star dollars. But the price was already very low, and many outsiders flocked to him. Originally, before cultivating the Great Emperor's Fire Seal, Jiangli could only hypnotize 2,000 people. But after cultivating the Great Emperor's Fire Seal, he needed to absorb more than 20 bottles of sun and moon essence and large amounts of nutrient drinks every day. His digestive ability increased, and his brain cells were strengthened. Every day, more than 5 million star dollars were transferred into Jiangli's card. After deducting the security group's commission and taxes, it was pure income. But he also consumed a lot of it every day. As soon as the Sun and Moon group left the black market, the price of sun and moon essence skyrocketed to 200,000 star dollars per bottle. Therefore, he used all the money he earned from hypnosis to buy his sun and moon essence. There was nothing left. Sometimes, after training his sister and helping his parents, he still couldn't make ends meet. Although Dahe was doing well in the black market, it was also cultivating every day. Not only did it need a lot of nutrients, but it was also building its own laboratory to research the sky-shaking Thunder Beast gene. This was a money-burning job. A research laboratory could be used as much as it wanted, so it was also short of money. Jiang Li's card was empty. Although it wasn't in debt, it definitely didn't have any surplus. First, the sun and moon essence skyrocketed. Second, the consumption was too great. The consumption of one person was equivalent to that of hundreds of experts. Cultivating the Great Emperor's Fire Seal could make people rice buckets. Rumor had it that in ancient times, there were martial arts experts who ate 3 bulls or even 1 elephant a day. But now that technology was at its peak, 1 kilogram of nutrient drinks was more nutritious than 3 bulls, not to mention the sun and moon essence. Jiangli wouldn't become a rice buckets. This was the benefit of advanced technology. Every morning, he would hypnotize and earn money. In the afternoon, he would train. At night, he would go to Wang Changrong's place to ask questions. As the days passed, Jiang Li's life was very fulfilling. Today, he used the resources of the security company to mobilize some training mechas for battle. He discovered that he really had the ability to dismantle mechas with his bare hands. Mechas were strictly prohibited. However, big companies could take the edge and apply for training mechas. There are no guns, laser cannons, or other lethal weapons installed on them. At the same time, they couldn't fly. They could only jump and glide. Of course, the destructive power of these mechas was also abnormally terrifying. Each punch was more than 5 tons and could send a small car flying. Unfortunately, Now that Jiang Li's vitality had reached 25, the force of each punch was 6 tons. The impact was terrifying. Also, after receiving guidance from Wang Changrong, his understanding of the wind and thunder seals became deeper and deeper. Both his speed and explosive power had improved greatly. More importantly, Jiang Li's parents were already living with Wang Changrong and were under his protection. Although the Yu family of the 36 Hua cities hated their guts, they couldn't do anything about it. In the face of absolute power, power was a bit pale. A person like Wang Changrong could influence an entire army by himself. Wherever he went, the people there would be controlled by him. His thoughts radiated outwards, and more death warriors emerged, fighting to be the first. No big shot could bear the consequences of angering him. Moreover, assassinations and sneak attacks had no effect on him. This kind of person had a very strong sixth sense. He had a kind of premonition. Although he couldn't predict everything in the past and the future, if someone tried to sneak up on him, he could sense it with his clear mind and take precautions. Moreover, once he sensed it, he would immediately counterattack. No one could withstand it. The bosses all knew how terrifying this kind of person was. It was best not to provoke him if possible. The Yu family even warned Tong not to act rashly. Moreover, this kind of person had great power. He was one of the bosses. The security group was the local snake on Earth. The founder, Zhang Anquan, was already a figure in the elite area. Who would dare to offend him? In short, Jiang Li's family was absolutely safe. Moreover, Jiang Zhendong began to collect information and prepare to study the new essence of the sun and moon. Wang Changrong would adjust him every day, making him more intelligent and open-minded. He could also do research with twice the results with half the effort. Everything was developing in a good way. In 1 month, I'll step into the Emperor planet and start my real university life. In this last month, I'll relax and take a walk in my hometown. Walking out of the security building, Jiang Li felt that the sunlight was beautiful. He wanted to completely relax. The path of martial arts was a cycle of tension and relaxation. Although if he didn't perform hypnosis every day, he would lose nearly 6 million star dollars. Hypnotizing 3,000 people every day was an extremely exhausting task. If he did it for a long time without rest, it would also cause a kind of mental fatigue. Beep, 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 he called his best friend, Guomeng. Wow, Jiang Li, you actually called me. Guomeng was very shocked after hearing the phone call. You are now a noble person, a big shot, a student of Starry Sky University, an intermediate hypnotist, and a senior member of the security group. How can you remember me? Brother, we've been best friends since childhood. There's still 1 more month before I leave Earth. Let's get together and reminisce about old times. Jiang Li smiled. He was in a very relaxed mood, as if he had returned to the days when he was an ordinary person. Ha, you come? I was admitted to Starry Sky University, and now I'm in school with my girlfriend. Guomeng also laughed. Come over and let them cause a sensation. Please don't. Jiang Li quickly said, we two brothers can reminisce. It's not good to cause a sensation, but you have a girlfriend? Then I want to see it. Wait, I'll come to Starry Sky University soon. Okay, I'll wait for you. Brother, I can also introduce a girlfriend to you, but with your current identity, you won't even be interested in the campus belle of Starry Sky University. Guomeng joked. Jiang Li hung up the phone and did not drive. He took the city light rail and changed into ordinary clothes. At the same time, he restrained his temperament and looked like an ordinary student. His facial muscles can be adjusted at will. Even his internal organs and bones can be slightly shifted. Unless it's a top master, otherwise no one can see any clues. Chapter 117. The light rail arrived at Tsinghua University. Jiang Li walked in and found that the environment was completely different from high school. There was no tense learning atmosphere, and there were couples everywhere. Some were hugging under the trees, and some were kissing on the benches as if there was no one else around. The atmosphere of love was everywhere. University, for students, the main study is to fall in love. In high school, it was a life of struggle. Everyone strives to be admitted to Star Sky University. Those who can't get in can go to other universities and enjoy life. In modern society, even if people don't do anything, they can still get government aid and live a comfortable life. Jiangli walked into the campus of Tsinghua University. Looking at the couples, a sense of peace rose in his heart. The atmosphere here is youthful, comfortable, easy, and enjoyable. But the atmosphere of Starsky University is completely different. It's cruel, fighting war, and desperate. The goal of humanity's highest university is to protect all human beings. This is their responsibility. Hey, on the flagstone road on campus, Guomeng saw Jiangli at a glance. I say you've changed a lot. Right, didn't you grow taller? How did you become one? 8 meters? I remember you were more than one. 9 meters. No wonder you're my best friend. Your eyes are sharp. You recognized me at a glance. Jiangli patted Guomeng on the shoulder. Of course I can grow taller and shrink at will. If I can't shrink my bones, how can I be admitted to Starsky University? You're awesome. Guomeng gave him a thumbs up. You're now a big shot. How can you think of nobody like me? Screw you. Jiangli laughed and scolded, looked at him contemptuously, and joked. Right? Where's your girlfriend? Let me see. I'm suffering. I don't have a girlfriend now. Don't talk nonsense. Guomeng growled, curling his lips. Luohan and Serene, aren't they your girlfriends? The two of them were admitted to Starsky University together. It's like a carp leaping over the Dragon Gate. I heard that under normal circumstances, no one in our city can be admitted to Starsky University, but 3 of them came out and Ouyang Xing was eliminated. It's normal. This year's Starry Sky University exam is very difficult. Jiangli recalled the cruel trials he had experienced along the way. His heart was filled with emotion. Dude, don't change the subject. Between Luohan and Serene, which one is your girlfriend? Or both? Guomeng didn't let go of the topic. Neither of them. Jiangli shook his head. We're just friends, not boyfriend and girlfriend. Besides, how can both of them be my girlfriends? Tis TSK bro, I know what you're thinking. If you choose one of them, the other one will definitely leave quietly. This is something you don't want to see. You want both of them, but you're afraid that they won't agree, so you're dragging it out like this, right? But it's too scary to have both of them together. Not good, not good. Guomeng clicked his tongue and looked at the time on the AI chip. Why wasn't little Lon here yet? She invited 2 of her roommates to have dinner with us. I even wanted to introduce her to a good friend and introduce a boyfriend to her roommate. Don't joke around. Jiangli looked around. Woo woo woo. Suddenly, a flying car in the distant sky landed on the campus. It locked onto its target and stopped not far away from the 2 of them. 3 female university students leisurely walked down. One of them was very delicate, and there was a hint of spirituality in her eyes. When she saw Guomeng, her eyes lit up, and Jiangli immediately knew that this was the girlfriend Guomeng had mentioned, Xiaolon. Little Lon, this is your boyfriend? Also, who's the guy next to your boyfriend? He doesn't look that good. A girl whispered. Your boyfriend and best friend are much worse than the one in the car. The one in the car is handsome and rich. You don't talk nonsense. Senior Mushang is just treating us to dinner. Little Lan's voice was very soft. She walked forward and smiled. Guomeng, I'm sorry. I was a little late just now. A senior dragged us to an activity and then insisted on treating us to dinner. It's not good to decline, so I suggested that we go eat together. These are my 2 roommates, Yu and Ziyuan. This is my best friend. Guomeng quickly introduced. My name is Jianghua. Jiangli interrupted him. Guomeng and I are high school classmates. He was admitted to university, and I came out to work. Since I'm on leave today, we came out to get together. Little Lon, this is your boyfriend? At this time, a man walked out of the car. He was more than 9 meters tall, and had a well-proportioned body. There was a strong self-confidence between his eyebrows. He was handsome and could drive. It was obvious that he was the son of a rich family and had a high status. He was a 1-star citizen. Tsinghua University had a lot more talents than high school. This is Senior Mu Shang, the president of our Tsinghua University's student union. Little Lon quickly introduced. This is my boyfriend Guomeng and his high school classmate Jianghua. Guomeng, boyfriend. Mu Shang was tall and straight. There was a trace of ridicule in his eyes. Your father Guodalong works in a shopping mall and earns $50 a month. Your mother cleans the building in that shopping mall and earns $30 a month. Your vitality is 08. Now you found a night shift job and earns $20 a month to supplement your family. Am I right? Guomeng's face immediately changed. He felt a strong smell of gunpowder. Senior Mushang, what are you doing? Little Lan anxiously stomped her feet. Little Lan's other two best friends were smiling as if they had seen a happy scene. Little Lan, I've liked you for a long time. Be my girlfriend. This man can't give you happiness. Suddenly, Mushang grabbed Little Lan's hand and began to woo her in front of Guomeng. Little Lan was at a loss. Let go of my girlfriend. Guomeng was furious and punched out. If he didn't make a move now, he wouldn't be a man. Humph! Mushang suddenly flipped his hand, and his hand turned into the shape of a dragon. It was actually a dragon claw capture. His 5 fingers were like hooks. It was strong enough to tear a person's arm off. Guomeng was about to be injured when a force suddenly appeared behind him and pulled him back. It turned out that it was Jiangli who pulled him back. Oh! Mushang retracted his hand and looked at the ugly Jianghua in surprise. He then stared at Guomeng. Your vitality is only 08. You're not my opponent. The price of being impulsive will be very serious. Leave Little Lan. I won't make things difficult for you. I'll say it again. You can't give Little Lan happiness. Your vitality is 1, right? Jiangli pressed down on Guomeng's shoulder and walked up to speak. Oh, you want to stand up for him? Mushang didn't care and grabbed Little Lan's hand tightly. No, Jiangli smiled. Your vitality is 1, while Guomeng's is only 08. Logically speaking, even 10 Guomeng wouldn't be your opponent. But since it's a stalemate today, why don't you guys have a duel? Dueling for a girl is romantic. Duel. Mushang laughed. Looks like you're really a pig-like teammate. You trick your friend like this. Sigh. Jiangli, I'm not his opponent. Guomeng's expression was very ugly. Go, you will win. Jiangli patted his best friend's shoulder. Send out the duel invitation, young man. Okay. Guomeng's body shook, and he strode forward. Mushang, you have the right to pursue Little Lan. I also have the right to protect Little Lan. I will now officially send you a duel invitation. The loser will immediately withdraw. How about it? You said that. Mushang let go of Little Lan's hand and walked in front of Guomeng. I accept. Of course, your vitality is low. I'll let you attack 3 times first. I don't want you to let me. Let's begin. Roar. Guomeng suddenly sprang out like a fierce tiger and fiercely struck Mushang's head. Why bother? Mushang's body leaned to the side and clawed again. Like a dragon stretching out, Azure Dragon emerges from water. This move was enough to break Guomeng's arm. However, when he attacked, although he clearly grabbed Guomeng's arm, he grabbed nothing but air, as if he was hallucinating. Bang! A sharp pain came from his face. Guomeng's real fist had already struck his face, causing his nose to emit cracking sounds. His mouth and nose were all broken, and blood flowed out. In an instant, he turned from a handsome man to a hysterical demon. Roar! Mushang punched again, attacking Guomeng, but still missed. Then, Guomeng ruthlessly kicked his leg. His body spun, and he fell to the ground. What? There were some students watching in the surroundings. When they saw this scene, they all felt that it was inconceivable. They all knew Mushang. He was a high and mighty figure in the school, but he was actually beaten to this state by an ordinary student in a duel. Guomengyu, Little Lan, and her 2 roommates were also speechless. They had clearly seen the duel between Mushang and Guomeng. The outcome was decided in an instant. Mushang had lost a lot of his standards, and every move had hit somewhere else. You're a hypnotist. Mushang gritted his teeth and cleaned the dirty blood on his face. He climbed up and stared at Jiangli. You made me hallucinate. You have good taste. Jiangli smiled. Mushang could immediately know that he had been tricked by a hypnotist. He was not an ordinary person. Do you know that this has caused personal injury? Human law states that hypnotism cannot be used casually. Mushang laughed sinisterly. I've already called the police. You can wait to go to jail. Woo 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 woo. As he spoke, the police siren had already sounded. There was a police station inside the campus. If something happened, it could be put out with lightning speed. Humans' most important thing was the safety of the campus. The police car stopped, and several policemen jumped out. Mu Shang went up to talk to them. Then, several policemen walked towards Jiang Li. Who are you? Not a student of Tsinghua University? Why did you use hypnotism without permission? Do you know that you have violated human law? Take out your chip. What is your identity? Another policeman said coldly. Jiang Li took out the golden chip. The policeman's eyes flashed. He had never seen such a chip before. He took it with a puzzled look. Suddenly, the chip flashed and a lot of information appeared. Looking at the information, his whole body trembled. He quickly returned the chip to Jiang Li. So, it's student Jiang Li. According to human law, even if you have committed a crime, we can only report it to Tsinghua University and let them deal with it. It is not within our jurisdiction, but we hope that you don't cause big trouble. Otherwise, it will be hard for us to explain. It's just a duel between my friend and classmate over a girl. It's a small matter. Jiang Li explained the matter. Several policemen nodded seriously. My friend injured student Mu Shang. I will pay for his medical expenses. Also, give him 30,000 yuan as compensation for mental distress. Jiang Li said to the police, although I am a student of Tsinghua University, I also have to abide by human law. I will compensate what I have to. Ding dong. Jiang Li transferred the money to the police account, and then the police will compensate Mu Shang. Within a few minutes, Jiang Li patted Guomeng's shoulder. Brother, I have transferred 1 million yuan to you. Live a good life. You and I have chosen different paths. I hope you will be happy in the future. Guomeng looked at the many zeros in his chip account. He was dumbfounded. Jiang Li had already left. He is a student of Tsinghua University? Jiang Li? Suddenly, Yu screamed. He is my idol. What? The Jiang Li who was admitted to Starry Sky University this year? Where is he? How could he come to our Tsinghua University? Another girl showed a love-struck look. A sensation was created. This is also the reason why Jiang Li left immediately. He is now a well-known figure. Tsinghua University student Jiang Li. Mu Shang was ready to protest against the police's inaction, but when he heard the news, he was almost scared silly. He immediately did not say anything, got on the car and left. He did not dare to retaliate. He did not even dare to vent his anger on Guomeng. He swallowed his anger and did not dare to have any more thoughts. At this time, Jiang Li left Tsinghua University. He breathed a long sigh of relief. This time, he helped his best friend Guomeng. He felt like he had fulfilled a wish. The shackles of the world seemed to be one less layer. Chapter 118. Guomeng, is that really your friend? Starry Sky University's Jiang Li? After Jiang Li walked away, Xiaolan was shocked. Your best friend? Yes. Guomeng nodded, still staring blankly in the direction where Jiang Li disappeared. We grew up together. He just gave me 1 million star dollars and told me to live a good life. Wow, 1 million. Xiaolan's 2 roommates were smitten. 1 million was an astronomical number for them. If only he was my boyfriend. Guomeng, hurry up and help me out. How about we have dinner together tonight? Yu grabbed Guomeng and said eagerly. Yu, don't even think about it. Jiang Li is not the same kind of person as us. He's high and mighty, like a god. It's impossible for us to get close to him and be friends with him. The other girl was calmer. Sigh. Yu was filled with regret and let out a long sigh. That's true. He's not the same kind of person as us. We're just ordinary people, but even his life essence is different from ours. I really want to be like them. They might not be happy. The death rate of Starry Sky University students is very high every year. The greater the ability, the greater the responsibility. We can live a stable life without having to fight for our lives. It might not be a bad thing. Guomeng stepped forward and took Xiaolan's hand. Let's go eat first. With the money that Jiang Li gave me, I'm going to start a company and start a business. I'll let you live a happy life in the future. Xiaolan smiled and nodded. She walked hand in hand with Guomeng. Each of their classmates embarked on a different path, struggling for their own ideals. On the road of life, everyone had their own choices. Jiang Li felt that among the multitude of living beings, everyone had their own story, their own karma. What was the void? What was the cause and effect of people coming from the void to the filthy earth? After leaving Guomeng, He seemed to understand something, but he couldn't understand it no matter how hard he tried. There was a kind of confusion. Brother, my vitality has broken through one. In the security building, his sister Jiang Xian suddenly leaped and glided, landing lightly in front of Jiang like a spring swallow skimming across the water. Sure enough, you've improved so fast. Looks like you can definitely get into Starry Sky University in a few years. Jiang Li looked at his sister in surprise. It's Master who cleans my hair every day, and I'm now a beginner hypnotist. Jiang Xian smiled and turned on the optical computer. Her qualification certificate appeared on the screen. I've signed a contract with the security group. I can hypnotize 4 or 5 people a day. Little sister can also earn money now. I can also be at ease and let her take care of mom and dad. Jiang Li sighed in his heart. 1 year ago and now, it was a world of difference. Jiang Xian had already acknowledged Wang Changrong as her master, and she had been learning martial arts and psychic power cultivation every day. In just a few months, she had advanced by leaps and bounds. It couldn't be helped. Wang Changrong was almost the #1 cultivator in the 36 Hua cities, and he was also one of the top cultivators on Earth. Coupled with his rich foundation, once he proved his Tao, it would be like a carp leaping through the Dragon Gate. A voice came from nowhere. It was Wang Changrong's thought radiation. Of course, 1,000 miles was just an exaggeration. With Wang Changrong's current spiritual cultivation, he could only radiate 10 miles. Of course, 1,000 miles was just an exaggeration. With Wang Changrong's current spiritual cultivation, he could only radiate 10 miles. And this was a straight line distance. If he radiated it in a circle, it would only be a few kilometers. Unless he improved further and formed a holy fetus and reached the embryonic breathing state, he would be able to radiate people in an entire city and become a super hypnotist. Sister, train hard, Jiang Li warned. Then, with a whoosh, he disappeared from where he stood. His speed was even faster than a car's engine, reaching a speed of 50 meters per second. Now, he could run 100 meters in 2 seconds. With a vitality of 2.5, he was already superhuman. His powerful body was like a supercar engine, pushing his body to compete with machines. In the gym, Wang Changrong was training. He was getting younger and younger. He looked like he was in his 40s. In front of him was a wooden stake that was about the thickness of a wrist. He stood 5 steps away and suddenly inhaled. Then he opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of white gas. It was like a flying sword. In an instant, the wooden stake was cut in half. Killing by breathing. Jiang Li's eyes were cold. This was killing by breathing. That's right. This is the innate gang qi of Taoism. It kills by breathing. When the speed reaches a certain level, the air wave can tear the human body apart. Wang Changrong put his hands behind his back. Recently, my vitality has reached 3. Combined with your great Emperor Wind Seal, I suddenly understood the true meaning of speed. I was inspired and called you over to discuss. If you can understand the secret of innate gang qi, it won't be a problem for your lethality to increase by several times. As he spoke, he suddenly struck out with his palm. Bang! The air waves surged. Jiang Li only felt that the air around him turned into waves when he exerted force, causing him to involuntarily take a few steps back. Under the strong air wave, the wooden stake exploded into pieces. Air-splitting palm. Jiang Li could see that when Wang Changrong struck out with his palm, his body went through thousands of vibrations in that instant. He gathered the air wave into a ball and pushed it out at an extremely fast speed, causing a strong air wave and exploding the wooden stake. This was a miraculous martial art. Jiang Li's martial art could only be effective when the fist landed on the human body. Just the airwave alone was not enough to tear the human body apart, not to mention breaking the wooden stake. Wang Changrong, on the other hand, was able to explode his force and control the airwave to break the wooden stake within 5 steps. His stamina and technique were many times better than Jiang Li's. Swoosh! He waved his hand again. Within 5 steps, another wooden stake was broken. The cut was as smooth as a mirror. Windblade. Jiang Li's eyes lit up again. Just now, When Wang Changrong waved his hand, he cut the airwave and rotated it at high speed, creating a wind blade that cut the wooden stake. Wang Changrong turned around, drew a circle in the air with his palms, and pushed towards Jiangli. Suddenly, Jiangli felt the airwave was like a wall pressing against him, suffocating him. He retreated several steps before the wall disappeared. This method of using the airwave was simply miraculous. When martial arts reach a certain level, you can achieve a miraculous effect by activating the airwave. In the era of the country, although martial arts grandmasters had this level, their physical strength could not increase. The toughness of their bodies could not withstand the power of the airwave, so they could not produce the effect of the innate gang qi. Now, it's completely different. Flesh and blood can also be more powerful than steel. Wang Changrong said faintly, "Your body is now very tough. With the great Emperor's fire seal and the base transformation meat you took on the Rakshasa star, you are invulnerable. You can barely produce the innate gang qi, but you are not proficient in the technique. My body is indeed very strong." Jiangli casually pulled out a knife from the side and suddenly slashed at his arm. The moment the blade came into contact with the skin of his arm shook, and the knife broke into several pieces. As long as Jiangli used his martial arts, the hard membrane in his arm would become like keratin, truly invulnerable. However, if it was the super sharp alloy steel that could cut through iron like mud, it would still not be able to block it. Moreover, he felt that he would certainly not be able to withstand the explosion of the airwave and the wind blade. Meng Xingyun, the one who defeated you in the Starry Sky University's ranking competition, comprehended the true meaning of qi and is able to kill people from a distance. The reason why you're not his opponent is because an inch longer, an inch stronger. Even if the attack range is an inch longer, it is enough to be fatal in a fight. And I see that Meng Xingyun's gang qi can kill people within 10 steps, which is a range of 4 to 5 meters. His attack range is 4 to 5 meters longer than yours, and even 10 of you would not be his opponent. Wang Changrong analyzed. Jiangli fell into deep thought. This was a real problem. If your arm hit the opponent's body, it would only be effective. But the opponent's attack was in the air, and he could threaten you from 4 to 5 meters away. What kind of concept was that? In fact, your great Emperor's wind seal is a perfect interpretation of the airflow, the body, and the true meaning of speed. But you're still unable to comprehend it. It really is a pity. Wang Changrong sighed incessantly. With your body, you can actually strike out with gang qi, which has the power to kill people within 3 steps. This is equivalent to having an additional attack range of more than 1 meter. Moreover, the cultivation of gang qi has a hypnotic effect on your body, and the wind aids the fire. The great Emperor's wind seal is a profound martial art. If your foundation is not up to par, and you're directly told the highest level of cultivation, you will not be able to comprehend it. I have designed a method for you to cultivate Xiantian gang qi. It is our Wang family's Taiji Qigong. As he spoke, Wang Changrong stood with both feet and spread out in a horse stance. Then he suddenly grabbed at the air. Jiangli felt a stream of qi being caught in his hand. It unexpectedly turned into a ball, spinning for a second, and then dissipated. The air in his hand seemed to have become a material object. His speed was so fast that he could indeed catch the air. And when he grabbed, the pores on his body opened and inhaled. His body was like a skin bag, constantly inhaling and exhaling air. Turn the air of nothingness into a material object. Slowly train, and you'll be able to cultivate Xiantian gang qi. Wang Changrong explained one by one. The change of breathing, the change of the pores, the inhaling and exhaling of the internal organs. In the process of collecting qi, it is like blowing the bellows, using the qi to cleanse the body, tempering it into steel. In addition to the cultivation of the fire seal, I feel that in a month, your body's quality will improve a lot. Jiangli instantly understood and also adopted the same posture. He inhaled and exhaled, and his hand grabbed at the air. However, he could only grab the air and create waves and ripples, unable to condense a mass of air into a spiral ball in his palm. Take it slowly this is also a kind of cultivation. Your foundation is not enough to control the qi, and you will not be able to display the essence of the great Emperor's Wind seal. Our Wang family's Taiji Qigong is the best way to build the foundation. Wang Changrong put his hands behind his back. If you cultivate on the Emperor's star, the effect will be even better. The gravity on that planet is 3 times that of the Earth, and the air contains the spiritual qi of heaven and earth, which is much better than the airflow on Earth. I think that when you go to school this time, the teacher will teach you how to do it in the first lesson. I wonder who your teacher is? If it is an expert with a vitality of 10, then he can use the 100 steps godly fist. With one punch, all the trees within 100 steps will be destroyed by the qi wave. Jiang Li continuously practiced the foundation. Taiji Qigong, a grasp and a shake, a circle and a circle. It looked light, but in fact, it was as fast as a flying swan, with great strength. This way, the air could be grasped into a spiral ball in an instant. However, he had grasped tens of thousands of times, but he was still unable to grasp the qi into a ball. Wang Changrong kept giving him pointers from the side. Chapter 119. A full month passed. Jiangli practiced the Tai Chi Qigong every day. In the first 10 days, he couldn't grasp the essence at all. He could only create simple air waves and explosions, and his posture was imperfect. However, as he continued to cultivate and repeated the movements tens of thousands of times a day, and under Wang Changrong's constant guidance, his technique became smoother and smoother. There was a sense of the primordial chaos. He lifted something heavy as though it were light, but it was actually as heavy as a mountain. It looked gentle, but it was actually as swift as lightning. Just like that, when he moved slightly, he felt that the air around him was sticky like glue, and he could pinch it at will. Finally, his martial arts had entered a new realm. The speed was too fast, and the air became resistance. The air became resistance, and he could grasp it with his hands. To use it freely, everything depended on speed, and speed was achieved through many movements. The airflow was in his hands, in the air, in his body, and in his meridians and cells. Every inch of his body was filled with airflow. As Wang Changrong had said, Jiangli could temper his body by cultivating the Kanate Qi, and the wind would help the fire. Every day, after cultivating the Tai Chi Qigong during the day, he would cultivate the Great Emperor Fire Seal. He would feel the fire in his body burning fiercely, and he would sweat profusely. The sweat that came out every day had a fishy smell, as many impurities in his body had been refined again. Not only that, but his appetite had doubled again. He had to take nearly 50 bottles of sun and moon essence, 2 kilograms of nutrition drinks, and all kinds of precious medicines to strengthen his muscles and bones. In this way, his wealth was close to 10 million every day. He couldn't make ends meet by relying on his hypnosis alone. Fortunately, Wang Changrong did his best to support him, so he didn't have to worry about it. Wang Changrong was now very profitable. In addition, he seemed to have a huge and secret savings. In any case, this person was becoming more and more mysterious. However, Jiangli knew that he was a friend, not an enemy. Moreover, Wang Changrong seemed to have changed his mind and stopped contacting the restoration organization. He seemed to be leaving the organization. In any case, ever since he proved his Tao, Wang Changrong's thoughts were very strange, as if he wanted to save the world. Ding dong! The admission notice finally appeared on the computer chip. All new students who have returned home must report to the Emperor Star within 3 days. A new semester has begun, and you will officially embark on a wonderful life journey. Starry Sky University was about to open. Jiangli had to rush over. Has school started? When Wang Changrong received the news, he waved his hand. Go. I'll take good care of your parents and sister. I won't let any harm come to them. Thank you. There's no need for that. You have to resolve the karmic ties you have with me, Wang Changrong said calmly. You reap what you sow. Jiangli trusted Wang Changrong with his parents and sister. Of course, he still had the most mysterious chess piece, and that was Dahe. Before leaving, he went to the black market to bid farewell to Dahe. Right now, Dahe was busy researching the genetics of life. He had established a small laboratory, and was doing very well. His research on the genetics of felines had surpassed many doctors. Of course, Zhongli had also imparted the Great Emperor Fire imprint to Dahe. The Great Emperor Fire imprint could refine the impurities in one's body, and it was helpful for gene evolution. It was a martial art that could build one's foundation. In fact, cultivation was to change the genes of the human body, gradually transforming from human to a higher life form. It could also be said that from a human to a god. Big Black's strength was also getting stronger and stronger. After a series of research, it took the second bottle of the sky-shaking Thunder Beast gene potion and began to evolve again. Its body became harder and harder, and a horn actually grew out between its eyebrows. There was a sizzling electric current on the horn. With this first stage of evolution, Dahe was one step closer to the Sky Tremor Thunder Beast. Swoosh! Dahe's body moved and directly scuttled out. The wall was like tofu, and a large hole appeared on it. It flew back as if nothing had happened and excitedly roared. The second stage of evolution is a success. Zhongli looked at the current Dahe. There were wings on his back and a horn on his head. He didn't look like a cat at all. He smiled and said, "Look at what you have become now. How do you look like a cat?" If we humans were to be injected with genetic potions and grow a pair of wings and a horn, we would simply not be able to live anymore. You humans place too much importance on your body. In the Vajra Sutra, even the Buddha said that if you seek me with your body, you won't be able to see the Buddha. All forms are fabricated. What's so important about the appearance of the body? In Buddhism, there are the 1,000-hand Guanyin, who has 3 heads and 6 arms, a long snake on her back, and wings that can fly. Which one of them is strange? Zhongli, you still haven't seen through the difference between the formless and the formless. It's hard for you to improve your spiritual cultivation. Dahe shook his head and said clearly and logically. Zhongli was moved. He knew that what Dahe said was true. People do place too much importance on the shape of their body, and it is inevitable that they will fall for it. However, it is still unacceptable for him to have an extra horn on his head, 3 hands, or a pair of wings. A human is a human. What would an extra organ look like? And Dahe saw through this layer. Not only was his spiritual cultivation above him, but his body also gradually began to become tyrannical, becoming a powerful existence similar to the sky-shaking Thunder Beast. Dahe, your future achievements will not be trivial. The unification of the black market is just around the corner. Brother, I look forward to the day when you achieve great things. Maybe the future starry sky will be your battlefield. Zhongli and Dahe hugged each other, and then said goodbye to the Flower Mask King and the 5 cute cats one by one. This farewell will not be seen for at least a few years. When he officially starts studying at Starry Sky University, he can no longer go home at will. On the warship, Zhongli was looking for Luohan and Serene. In the past 3 months, the 3 had not seen each other. Zhongli had tried to contact them, but he could not get in touch with them. He did not know what secret base they had entered for training. Zhongli, Luohan smiled and waved at him from the crowd. Xue Ling, who was beside her, was smiling like a flower. Zhongli quickly walked over. We have made a lot of progress in the past 3 months, and our vitality has reached 1.9. Seeing Zhongli, Luohan and Serene were excited. What kind of training have you been doing? Zhongli also smiled and asked curiously, "Why can't I contact you?" We went to the Antarctic, the extreme city built by humans, and have been training in the 4-fold gravity room. Our family contacted the army, and the army sent us there. There was also a strong self-confidence and temperament in Luohan's eyebrows. After not seeing her for a period of time, she had been reborn. I see. Zhongli understood that Luohan and Serene were admitted to Starry Sky University, and they were essentially the same as him. They will definitely be wooed by the Earth's military. These days, they will certainly get a lot of benefits. The best training base on Earth, and all kinds of drugs will be prepared for them. They will get more benefits than him. Once they are admitted to Starry Sky University, they will be superior, and their families will probably expand 10 times or even 100 times in this period of time. Many families will try to rope them in. The human government and the army will give their families benefits and all kinds of convenience in business. By the way, Zhongli, what is your vitality now? I heard that you have a friend called Wang Karong, who's become a high-level hypnotist. Serene had a lot of information. The three walked and chatted as they entered the cabin and sat down. The battleship began to dive to the bottom of the sea. My vitality. Jiangli casually scanned his body structure with his mind. Every part of his body had become a kind of tough and elastic fiber. Even the inside of his bones had become fibrous. They were not brittle at all and could be bent at will. But when he used his mind, the place that his mind reached would be like a towering mountain, hard and unshakable. After cultivating the great emperor's fire seal, his vitality was 2.5. After receiving Wang Changrong's guidance in the past few days, he cultivated the innate stellar energy and gained a new understanding of the great emperor's wind seal. With the help of the wind, the impurities in his body were further purified. His innate stellar energy had reached minor success, and his vitality had increased by 0.1. I'm about 2.6. This was because of the lack of nutrition on Earth. If he was on the Emperor's Star, where the heaven and earth spiritual chi was abundant, he would have no problem advancing to 3. Oh my God, so fast! Luohan and Shirin felt that it was incredible. Just as they were about to ask further, the battleship began to shake violently. Opening wormhole jump. Rumble. The battleship began another interstellar jump. During the jump, Jiangli once again dreamed of the foreign world, the world of cultivation. At the same time, the wormhole energy not only transformed his cells, but also expanded the space in the milky white stone. This time, the space expanded to 1,000 square meters and was 10 meters tall. It was like a large warehouse. After some time, he woke up from the dream. He checked his body and found that it was stronger again. A ball of energy swept around Jiang Li's body. When the energy dissipated, he once again arrived at the human base on the Emperor's Star. At this moment, 3 times the gravity was nothing to him. He could walk and breathe easily. The pressure of the gravity actually made it easier for him to train. He could even feel the rich heaven and earth spiritual chi. He could not wait to start the embryonic breathing absorption. But now was not the time. According to the procedures, he had to first register and then be selected by the mentor. I wonder who my mentor is this time. Jiang Li thought to himself, is it really a strong person with a vitality of 10? Wang Changrong said that such a strong person can punch the air and manipulate the airflow to blow up people 100 steps away. The power of the 100 steps godly fist is unparalleled. I want to see it. Star Sky University was full of hidden dragons and crouching tigers. Especially those mentors, all of them were strong human beings. He looked around. Luohan and Shirin had been teleported to some unknown place. He was in a large room. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. A ball of energy condensed into a large screen. On it, the face of a dignified man appeared. Hello, student Jiang Li. Now, you are accepting the teacher selection. Display your strongest strength and display your strongest martial arts for the teacher to see. Yes, Jiang Li immediately began to practice. At the same time, in a large room, there were many flickering screens. In the room, there were hundreds of Star Sky University mentors watching the freshmen practice on the screens. They observed their qualifications and selected students from them. These mentors were all dragons among men. Each of them had an extraordinary aura, exuding an incomparably tyrannical aura and majesty. They were all heroes of humanity. It was unknown how many battles they had experienced for humanity, how they had survived in the complicated and dangerous universe, and how they had helped humanity expand its territory. This time, we are picking the leftovers. The top 10 of the ranking competition, the top 10 experts, were all chosen by the school's elders. They were directly brought to be trained. I don't think there are any experts to bring this time. Yes, we picked the Earth region. There are even fewer strong students. Sigh, bringing weak students to battle and kill, I wonder how long they can live. A few mentors from the Earth region were discussing. That student from the Earth region has such strong physical strength. Suddenly, many of the mentors focused their attention on a screen. On the screen was an image of Jiang Li practicing his fist technique. Chapter 120. This student is indeed outstanding. Look at his martial arts. He can actually shoot out wind blades. He can even control Xiantian Gang Qi and kill people with his breath. His martial strength is definitely not something an ordinary expert can compare to. As expected, this is the Wang family's 8 trigrams Thunderwind Palm. Although it is a B-grade martial arts, it cannot be underestimated. Look, he can actually condense air into a ball. Many mentors gathered and watched Zhongli practice his martial arts. In the video, Zhongli punched out, and the air exploded without dispersing. It seemed to form an air all that fiercely pierced forward, only disappearing after 3 meters. This air all should not be underestimated. Within 3 meters, it could completely penetrate the human body and even steel. Although the air was soft, it was extremely powerful under the high-speed rotation. The air explosion produced by ordinary experts was deafening. When one's vitality reached 25 and above, one could use Xiantian Gang Qi to control the airflow, increasing the destructive power by several times. When one's vitality reached 25 in the era of the country 200 years ago, one would be a Superman. Even some martial arts grandmasters did not have such a tyrannical and tough body. Zhongli practiced one move after another. He cut with his hand, and the wind blades flew out. His body was like a leather bag, perfectly controlling the airflow. After he finished the 8 trigrams Thunderwind Palm, he hugged the air like a stream, forming a ball that could be seen with the naked eye. Then, he pushed the air ball forward. Rumble! The ball exploded in front of him, and the power was enough to blow an ordinary person into a bloody mess. Good. Some mentors cheered. This is a character completely not inferior to those experts in the top 10. How could such a character not be in the top 10 in the ranking competition? He was unlucky. In the final elimination round, he met Meng Xingyun, who was ranked first and obtained 11th place. That's a pity, but I want this person. In your dreams, I want him. He belongs to me. Stop arguing. I'll pick first. All right. Whoever is the strongest can choose this young man. The top 10 experts have already been picked by those old fellows. I didn't expect there to be this treasure left. Some of the mentors actually started a quarrel over Zhongli. Silence. This voice wasn't loud, but it was very shocking. All the mentors quieted down and looked towards the source of the voice. It's Hong Heiyu. It's over. He also came to fight for this young man. We definitely can't fight anymore. Don't worry. Hong Heiyu is known as the Hell Mentor. No matter how strong a student is, they won't be able to withstand his training. That youngster will definitely request to change mentors in the end. A black-clothed mentor appeared at the bottom of the screen. He looked at Jiang Li and nodded. He's a good seedling. My hellish training method could be used on him. I hope he can handle it. Shoo! After executing the 8 trigrams Lightning Wind Palm, Jiang Li heaved a sigh of relief. I should be picked by a good teacher this time. Beep, beep, beep. A line of words appeared on the energy screen. Student Jiang Li, your mentor is Hong Heiyu. Go and pay your respects to your mentor now. From now on, you will learn from him. He will teach you everything. A mass of energy enveloped Jiang Li and transported him into the distance. When the mass of energy dissipated, Jiang Li saw a black-clothed man standing in front of him. He was about 2 meters tall and had a tall and straight figure. He seemed to be able to support the heavens and the stars. However, when he took a closer look, he was in a trance. He looked like a ghost. He only felt that it was an illusion and not a real body. Or rather, this black-clothed man didn't exist in the same space as him. This person is so powerful. Even Wang Changrong didn't give me such a feeling. Jiang Li was secretly shocked. However, the stronger the mentor, the happier he was. Buzz, buzz. Another 4 masses of energy landed here. 2 females and 2 males appeared. They were also freshmen. Clearly, they were the students chosen by the black-clothed mentors. Jiang Li sized up the 2 females and 2 males. They would be his classmates in the future. Moreover, they were all Asians. However, it was obvious that they weren't humans from Earth. When a mass of energy dissipated, these students also saw Hong Heiyu. They immediately lowered their heads. Hello, mentor. Tell me your names. Hong Heiyu pointed at Jiangli. I'll start with you. You're the strongest among the students I've chosen. From today onwards, you'll be the captain of this team that I'll be leading. My name is Jiangli. Jiangli stepped forward bravely. The strongest? Immediately appointed as the captain? The other 2 males and 2 females seemed to be a little unconvinced. Their eyes were sharp as they fiercely stared at Jiangli. However, in front of the mentor, they couldn't question him. Jiangli could see that these 2 males and 2 females were all experts with vitality points above 2. Such people were naturally unruly and wouldn't be convinced that he was the captain. You sign up. Hong Heiyu pointed at a male student. Li Zhen, Genius Yu, Lu Jiejia, Yang Miaoyu. The 2 males and 2 females respectively reported their names. Each of them was full of energy, showing the demeanor of an expert. They had a calm temperament and cold eyes. They were all dragons and phoenixes among men. Good. Hong Heiyu clasped his hands behind his back. You must have learned the basic knowledge of Star Sky University, right? From now on, the 5 of you are a small team. Whether it's studying, living, or completing missions, you're all one. Treat each other with sincerity. Share weal and woe, understand? Understood. The 5 of them answered in unison. Your current identities are different. You are the hope of humanity. The greater the ability, the greater the responsibility. What you need to do now is to maintain the peace of humanity. This is not empty talk. Ordinary people can live in peace, but you can't. The moment you were admitted to Star Sky University, your destiny was determined. You will contribute your blood and life for the advancement of humanity. Hong Heiyu's tone naturally contained a sense of heroism. He strolled forward, going against the heavens, shouldering justice with an iron shoulder. The freshmen of Star Sky University range from 3 to 10. Each team is led by a mentor and formed into a small team. You probably know that the strongest teams in Star Sky University are the Celestial Team, the Rebirth Team, the Immortal Emperor Team, the Angel Team, the Scarlet Team. Every team has to complete many missions every year. If you fail to complete 3 missions, you will have to drop out of school. Of course, every time you complete a mission, there will be a generous reward for your cultivation. Hong Heiyu continued to lecture. Jiangli had read the information and knew that it was not easy to continue studying in Star Sky University. The tasks were very heavy. Some students did not finish a year of study and were expelled because they could not complete the tasks. A big boss of Star Hua City Police Department was one such case. But even after dropping out of school, he was still a person above others. He could easily hold a position of power in the military or become an official in the political world. Mentor, what name should we give our team? The girl named Lu Jiejia asked. I'm cultivating an S-rank martial art, the 10-directional Hell Dao. Your newly formed team shall be called the 10-directional team. Hong Heiyu had already decided on a name. He said in a clear voice, I hope you can suppress the 10-directional team and shine brightly. You can see the scoreboard of the entire Star Sky University team on the optical computer chip. The 10-directional team has been named. Zhongli immediately opened the optical computer chip and found that the team scoreboard had indeed appeared. The first place on the scoreboard was impressively the Immortal Team. The second place was the Celestial Team. Then there was the Rebirth Team, Immortal Emperor Team, Angel Team, Scarlet Team, Saint King Team, Sun Moon Team, Dragon Snake Team, Sun God Team. These are not freshmen, but old students. Every year, a large number of freshmen enter the school. All kinds of teams emerged one after another. But it was rare for a team to enter the scoreboard. There was no hope for the freshmen. The scoreboard was only ranked in the top 3,000 teams. A team that could enter the scoreboard, even if there were only 3 to 5 people, was equivalent to the combat power of several armies. Not to mention the top 10 teams. Jiangli searched the scoreboard for the 10-directional team. A prompt immediately appeared. The 10-directional team has just been established. It has not completed its mission yet. There are no points. Unable to search for a spot. Sir, how many teams are there in our Star Sky University? Lu Jiejia seemed to like to ask questions. You will know when you gradually integrate into university life. Mentor Hong Black Prison didn't reply. Your current strength is still very weak and isn't enough to complete the mission. The first month of school is mainly for you to learn all kinds of knowledge, increase your vitality, and understand the current situation of humans. Zhongli, here. Hearing Hong Heiyu call his name, Zhongli immediately perked up and responded in a clear voice. Hong Heiyu waved his hand. Rumble. Zhongli felt a wall of air appear out of thin air, pressing down on him. He could not withstand it at all. The airflow in front of him was as hard as iron, instantly slamming into his body. Bang! His body flew out fiercely and fell to the ground, spitting out a mouthful of blood. This was the real Xiantian astral qi. Come back. From a distance of more than 20 steps, Hong Heiyu suddenly hooked his fingers into a claw and flung it backwards. Suddenly, a massive airflow was sucked dry. Affected by the airflow, Zhang Li's body flew into the air and landed in Hong Heiyu's hand. Hong Heiyu's hands released air explosions, repeatedly slapping Zhang Li's body. With every slap, an explosion occurred inside Zhang Li's body, as if he had turned into a lump of rotten meat. Zhang Li could not bear it any longer and let out a miserable howl like a wild wolf. The other students trembled as they watched. This was simply the pain of being cut into pieces. Pucci! Zhang Li fell to the ground, motionless, as if he had lost his breath. Hong Heiyu's expression remained the same, as if he did not care at all. He took out 2 fruits of life and stuffed them into Zhang Li's mouth, then tapped on the AI chip. Energy heal. Crackle, crackle. Energy shot over from afar, wrapping around Zhang Li's body as it began to repair itself. After an hour, Zhang Li stood up once more. He was as good as new, and it was impossible to tell that he had just experienced a hellish torture. This is my training method. You are the only one in the Decimo team who has comprehended the usage of Xiantian astral qi. It's a pity that you are only at the beginning. Hong Heiyu said, "What's the point of using wind blades to unleash air explosions? Controlling the airflow, twisting, and changing is the higher level. I will use Xiantian astral qi to beat you up, making you hover between life and death. Only then will you understand the true essence." Chapter 121. Teacher, why aren't they getting beaten up? Zhang Li was beaten up and hovered between life and death. However, in the process, he had learned many things. It turned out that innate gang qi could be used in this way. For example, when Hong Heiyu grabbed and swung, it actually caused the air to collapse and grab Zhang Li from afar. This was simply the dragon catcher hand in novels' telekinesis. The control of airflow was miraculous. However, after beating up Zhang Li, Hong Heiyu didn't attack again, which made Zhang Li feel that it was unfair. As for the other 4 students, they kept retreating. They didn't want to be beaten up like this. Because you're the strongest and can take a beating, but they can't. After being beaten up by me, they will die immediately. Even energy won't be able to save them. Hong Heiyu said proudly, "This time, I used the first style of the 10 levels of hell on you. I broke all the bones in your body and fed you the fruit of life, using the energy to reassemble your body. As the saying goes, break and build, invincible. When you go back and cultivate, your body will become even stronger. In the future, I will use even more cruel methods to train you so that you can become a true expert." The other 4 students were drenched in cold sweat. They were a little unconvinced that Zhang Li was their leader, but after being beaten up by their teacher, they were glad that they weren't the leader and didn't have to be beaten up. Just now, such a ferocious attack was really like going to hell with every hit. However, don't be too happy too early. From today onwards, you will undergo devilish training. Hong Heiyu's face darkened. Each of you will carry a ton of baggage and run 200 kilometers on foot. No stops in the middle. Clatter, clatter. A cabinet opened, and inside were 5 bags that were the height of a person. They contained all kinds of equipment, including tents, food, water, weapons, medicine, and in addition, there was a low-level mecha. It wasn't a model, but real metal. It was very heavy, and its quality was much better than the equipment of the army on Earth. However, this mecha wasn't for everyone to wear, but to be carried on their backs. Everyone was carrying a ton of weight, which was pressing down on their bodies. Especially with the Emperor Star having 3 times the gravity, this kind of weight was enough to kill them. So ruthless. Everyone's bones creaked as they carried the 1-ton package on their backs. Hong Hei-yu did not have a backpack. Instead, he held a large, pitch-black saber in his hand. The saber was like a plank of a door. With a large hand, it could cover his entire body. It was twice as big as a shield. He held it in his hand with ease. Jiang Li, who was carrying a 1-ton bag, felt that it was still okay and bearable. He saw Hong Hei-yu's door-sized broadsword and asked curiously, "Sir, how heavy is that broadsword in your hand? Why don't you give it a try?" Hong Hei-yu smiled and let Jiang Li take the saber. Jiang Li grabbed the hilt, and Hong Hei-yu loosened his grip. Immediately, kacha-kacha, the bones in his arms cracked, and the extremely heavy pressure almost caused his entire body to fall apart. Dong! The black door-sized broadsword fell to the ground, and the entire ground shook. It was as if a mountain had fallen from the sky. This broadsword, the other 4 students felt that they should stay away from their teacher. From her point of view, their teacher, Hong Hei-yu, was no longer human. Amazing. Jiang Li rubbed his wrist. He guessed that this black broadsword was definitely more than 10 tons. With his current wrist strength, it was no problem for him to carry 3 tons, but he was unable to lift the black broadsword. This broadsword is called Black Prison. It is made from a mixture of metal and energy from outer space. Its density is 100 times that of steel. Hong Hei-yu said, "I have used it to tear apart many monsters' bodies and killed many of our enemies. Even if it is a sonic speed mecha, I can split it apart with 1 slash." What? Sir can fight against a sonic speed mecha? Jiang Li's body shook. In his impression, sonic speed mecha were invincible. How strong is your vitality? Humph. Vitality is something that you have to observe yourself. If you encounter an enemy, would that enemy be stupid enough to tell you how much vitality they have? Hong Hei-yu waved the black broadsword. Let's go. The newly formed 10-direction team left the human base and began their training. Hong Hei-yu's training was truly cruel. The few of them had to carry a ton of weight and run for 200 kilometers without stopping. At this moment, the difference in their strength was revealed. After running for 50 kilometers, Jiang Li was in the lead while the other 4 fell behind. The female student, Lu Jiejia, was panting. She stopped running and started walking. However, Hong Hei-yu immediately started punching and kicking her. He did not have the slightest bit of tenderness for the fairer sex. Lu Jiejia was beaten black and blue. Then, with a flick of his hand, tens of silver needles pierced deep into Lu Jiejia's body to increase her potential. Lu Jiejia began to run madly to keep up with the team. While running, her mouth and nose were bleeding, and even her eyes were bleeding. Her blood vessels seemed to have burst, but Hong Hei-yu did not let her stop. "Mentor, we can't train anymore. If we continue, Lu Jiejia will die. Let's rest for a while," Li Jin pleaded. He was also very tired. "Bullshit. What's this training? If you get seriously injured in training, you can be saved. If you get seriously injured in battle, the enemy will not give you any chance." Hong Hei-yu roared and slapped Li Jin in the face. A few of Li Jin's teeth fell out and his mouth was swollen. He then shouted, "Continue to run. After today's run, you have to learn all kinds of knowledge. After learning, you have to take an exam tomorrow. Whoever doesn't pass, break all the bones in his body." During the training, Hong Hei-yu turned into a devil. Jiang Li now understood Hong Hei-yu's character. In one sentence, he would not let you die by relying on the advanced technology of Starry Sky University and the Fruit of Life. Under this premise, he would constantly squeeze out your life potential, putting you in the most critical state at all times. Dong. After running for 100 kilometers, the girl, Yang Miaoyu, was exhausted and fainted on the ground. "Get up." Suddenly, Hong Hei-yu's eyes moved. Jiang Li only felt a vast and overwhelming thought piercing into Yang Miaoyu's mind. Yang Miaoyu immediately stood up like a walking corpse. "Wake up, continue to run." This was hypnosis to stimulate Yang Miaoyu's life potential. From this, it could be seen that Hong Hei-yu was definitely a high-level hypnotist, or even more powerful. Mentor, hypnosis to enhance her potential is very harmful to her life. Zhongli couldn't help but say, "What do you know?" Hong Heiyu's body flashed and appeared in front of Zhongli, slapping him in the face. Bang! Zhongli couldn't even dodge. The slap made him dizzy. He didn't dare to speak again and ran with all his might. I cultivate the 10-directional hell Tao. In the past, every day's training was equivalent to going to hell 10 times. Burning my body with fire, freezing it at minus 100 degrees Celsius, and stimulating my body with electric current. This little bit of pain is nothing. As long as you can endure it, Starry Sky University has enough resources to treat you. Other mentors won't provide you with fruits of life, but I will. What you need is training. Training as if your life is on the line. For the sake of training, don't care about your body. Hong Heiyu roared. Today's training is just the beginning. Just like that, under Hong Heiyu's devilish training, even Jiang Li was beaten dozens of times. Finally, they finished the 200 kilometers. Okay, I'll give you an hour to train. Hong Heiyu took out the fruits of life. Everyone, eat 5. It'll heal your injuries. There are supplies in your backpacks, so you'll recover quickly. Everyone didn't have the strength to answer him. While resting, they began to eat the fruits of life or smear the fruits on their bodies. Although Jiang Li was beaten many times, he was still grateful to Hong Heiyu for taking the initiative to provide the fruits of life. One had to know that one fruit of life was worth several million outside. It was several times cheaper in Starry Sky University, but it was still not a small amount. Of course, people like Hong Heiyu didn't care about money. He was abnormally strong. Jiang Li couldn't even estimate his life force, so he didn't dare to make wild guesses. An hour later, Hong Heiyu urged them. No one dared to disobey his orders, or they would be beaten up. Just like that, they spent the whole day running. Everyone's potential was squeezed to the extreme. When they returned to the human base, even Jiang Li didn't want to move. He would rather die, not to mention the others. The 2 girls began to cry. They were the elites of humanity, each with a will of steel, but under Hong Heiyu's training, they still showed their weak side. Cry. What the hell are you crying for? Hong Heiyu went up and slapped Lu Jiejia and Yang Miaoyu, causing their mouths to be filled with blood. You guys are crying because you are weak. Your wills must be ordinary in hell. Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva swore that as long as hell is not empty, he will not become a Buddha. For the sake of saving all living beings, he will never retreat. If you guys cry at the slightest bit of training, you might as well quit school. Get up. You still need to do chemistry revision. Today, we will be learning medicine, biogenetics, mathematics, science, geography, and astronomy. 3 hours. After you are done, I will come for a spot check. After that, you can all rest and sleep. There was no other way. Jiang Li and the others could only force themselves to get up and start learning. Fortunately, they had a specialized learning room. It was a large room with an optical computer in front of them. As long as they opened it, there would be professional masters lecturing them. These masters were people who specialized in science. They were like Jiang Zhendong, achieving great achievements in every field of knowledge. Jiang Li paid attention to learning about biogenetics and discovered that it was many times more advanced compared to when he was in high school. After 3 hours of learning, Hong Heiyu came up again to do spot checks. He arranged a topic for everyone. They had to get full marks. If they couldn't, they would be beaten up again. Luckily, Jiang Li cultivated the universe brain and had outstanding intelligence. He was able to absorb the knowledge quickly and didn't get beaten up. The other 4 companions were in a miserable state. They were beaten up again, hovering between life and death. However, after Hong Heiyu beat them up, he still gave them treatment, guided them in their studies, and answered their questions. Hong Heiyu's martial prowess was tyrannical, and he was also very knowledgeable. There was nothing he didn't know. This caused everyone to feel admiration for him. All right, today's training is over. You guys can rest now and continue tomorrow morning. After 10 days of continuous training, I will teach you martial arts and spiritual cultivation. However, the purpose of these 10 days of training is to remove the impurities in your hearts and purify the weakness in your wills. What's left is great courage and willpower. Remember, Xing Tian's ferocious will always be there. Even if the war god Xing Tian's head is broken, he still wants to fight and defy the heavens. If you guys can have such willpower, don't hesitate to sacrifice yourself. Only then can you grow into a qualified warrior. After Hong Heiyu spoke, his silhouette swooshed and vanished. Zhongli didn't know how he left. This person's speed was most probably 3 to 4 times faster than him. Captain, I'm about to fall apart. The two girls are the first to sit on the ground, completely losing their poise. They've been beaten up so badly today that they couldn't bear to look at it. At this moment, they also acknowledged Jiang Li's strength. During today's training, Jiang Li was the one who received the least beatings. Chapter 122. Captain Jiang Li, how much is your vitality? The 5 of us will live and die together from now on. So let's tell each other. Li Zhen struggled to get up, moved a little, and sat back down, smiling bitterly. 27. Jiang Li slowly spat out a few words. Amazing. Yu Tiankai gave a thumbs up. I've always thought of myself as a genius, and my parents also named me a genius. Unfortunately, my vitality is only 21, which is much worse than yours. I am 22, Li Zhen said. I am too. Yang Miaoyu, this girl, reported her vitality. I am also 2. Lu Jieja shook her head, as if she was still in pain. Everyone is tired. If there is anything to say, we can talk tomorrow. I can't do it anymore. I have to go back and lie down. If I don't rest, I will die. Li Zhen was not in the mood to chat. He struggled to get up, wanting to go back to his room. The other teammates were also not in the mood to chat, so they all went back to their rooms. Jiang Li stood up. It's time to go out and absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. His body quickly rushed out, leaving the human base and entering the depths of a dense jungle. Although the training during the day had drained his energy, he had now recovered a little. He had to go to a place far away from the base to absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth so that he could maintain vigorous energy during the daytime training. After finding a place, Jiang Li sat down and used the milky white stone to successfully enter the embryonic state. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Endless spiritual energy of heaven and earth entered his body and was absorbed by his cells in an instant. His muscles, tendons, and bones were also greedily absorbing it. A vortex formed inside Jiang Li's body. No matter how much spiritual energy there was, he could absorb it. Today's training had drained his potential. Now, he was equivalent to a dry pond, so the amount of spiritual energy he could absorb had greatly increased. Moreover, since he had practiced the Great Emperor Fire Seal, his refining ability had also improved by a level. After a few hours, his whole body felt full. He opened his eyes and began to practice the 3 seals of thunder, wind, and fire. Every time he practiced, a part of the spiritual energy in his body would be digested, and the essence would settle down and combine with the muscle cells, causing the muscle to have a structure similar to the basic flesh. This was the first step in the change of human life. Flesh and blood mutation. In ancient times, it was called cutting hair and washing marrow, changing tendons and bones. After one night had passed, Jiang Li had no idea how much spiritual energy he had absorbed. If converted into spirit stones, it would be worth tens of millions of spirit stones. His daily consumption was huge, and he didn't have enough money to buy all kinds of nutritional medicine. Therefore, he could only rely on the spiritual energy to sustain himself. Fortunately, the effect of the spiritual qi of heaven and earth was more effective than any nutritional medicine. I wonder if your spiritual cultivation has reached the embryonic breathing realm. Could it absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth? He seemed to be much stronger than Wang Changrong, but it was hard to say what his mind was like. Perhaps his body's strength is due to the accumulation of spirit stones. If Wang Changrong could consume spirit stones every day, he would definitely become very, very strong. Jiang Li checked his bank account and found that there was 43 million left. Since he did not perform hypnosis, he had no income every day, and Dahe was busy with the laboratory, so he could not withdraw any funds. Therefore, they could only rely on Zhongli to make money here. There were still many opportunities for Starry Sky University to make money. There were many places on the Emperor Star that had not been developed. If he could find a few spirit stones, he would immediately become rich. Opening the information on the optical computer, he found that there were many things he could buy, such as the all-purpose antidote serum and the fruit of life. These were the most important. Almost every student of Starry Sky University had to prepare them. Outside, the internal price of the fruit of life was 4 million, but here it was only 1 million. Of course, he was interested in warships and mecha. Buying a sonic mecha easily cost hundreds of millions or even billions, and warships were even more expensive. As for the normal low-martial mecha, the school gave each student a set. Zhongli was carrying this one on his back. Unfortunately, as his vitality grew stronger and stronger, the low-martial mecha were no longer of any use to him. He could even disassemble the mecha with his bare hands. After one night of cultivation, he continuously absorbed the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, causing his cultivation to deepen by another level. Although his vitality did not increase significantly, the toughness of his body was slowly improving. If he continued to train like this for a long time, his vitality could definitely be raised to 3. At that time, it would be a whole new level. Early the next morning, when Zhongli returned to the base, Hong Heiyu sent him a message. Bring your equipment and immediately gather outside the base. The coordinates are 316, 459. It's time to start the devil training again. Zhongli also felt that the training was too cruel, but it was precisely this kind of mentor that could train people step by step into a powerful warrior. He had no complaints. Soon, the 5 people gathered again. Hong Heiyu appeared with the same Dahe knife in his hand. He looked at everyone one by one. A smile appeared on his face. Very good. You all took spirit stones? Your body is full of spiritual energy of heaven and earth. This is more suitable for me to carry out the devil training. Zhongli also looked at the other 4 teammates one by one, found that their bodies were full of spiritual energy, full of vigor and vitality. They must have taken spirit stones. Spirit stones were also several times cheaper in Starry Sky University than outside. It was about 10 million per gram outside, and 2 million per gram in Starry Sky University's internal network. Of course, Starry Sky University students can't smuggle spirit stones out. Otherwise, not only will they be expelled, but they will also be exiled, imprisoned for life, and even more cruel punishments. However, there were still some students who took the risk out of desperation and started a smuggling business. The 4 teammates were all rich people. In order to save their lives, they could take out tens of millions of spirit stones and reluctantly cut their flesh. Even Luohan and Serene have become rich. Their families expanded and received support from the military and government. They must have signed some kind of agreement to fund their university studies and cultivation. Zhongli didn't ask the security company for money, nor did he want to sign any agreement. He could absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. This was his greatest wealth. Why sign an agreement to lock himself in? Looking at the concentration of spiritual energy in your body, you probably took a gram of spirit stones last night. Hong Heiyu pointed to Lu Jiajia, then pointed to the other 3 people. You guys are the same. It seems I have to increase the intensity of today's training again. Don't mentor. The few people almost fainted. It's even more outrageous. The spiritual energy in your body is at least 5 grams of spirit stones. Today, your training intensity is twice as high as theirs. Hong Heiyu pointed to Zhongli. The other 4 people suddenly showed him a sympathetic look. The high-intensity training began again. For 10 days, this kind of training went on for 10 days. Every day, everyone seemed to go to hell. The pain was simply indescribable. The 2 girls even wanted to commit suicide. Every day felt like a year. However, Zhongli slowly adapted. Every night he absorbed the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. The next day, he would undergo devilish training, squeezing out all of his physical strength, bursting out all of his potential, over and over again. getting a very big training. However, his vitality was still 27. There was no increase. He was very clear about this, because the daily training consumed too much energy. Hong Heiyu's vision was very accurate. The amount of spiritual energy Jiangli absorbed every day was the same amount of high-intensity training, so that he couldn't retain any of his spiritual energy. All of it was used for training. In this way, his vitality naturally wouldn't increase. However, the advantage was that during the training process, the spiritual energy would integrate into the muscle cells, causing the quality of life to change. It was like a cat turning into a baby tiger. The strength of a baby tiger might be the same as a cat, but it had a lot of room for growth. Hong Heiyu's extreme hell training was like this, not letting one's vitality grow too fast, but focusing on laying a good body foundation, changing the quality of life, and stabilizing the foundation step by step. After 10 days, the 5 people finally persevered. After 10 days of training, their vitality didn't increase at all, but the strength of their bodies had improved a lot, especially the tempering of their minds. They were no longer afraid of any pain, cultivating a kind of fearless temperament and spirit. Jiangli secretly tried his fist technique and found that his gang energy could hit more than 5 steps away. This was a breakthrough progress. Very good. You guys actually survived 10 days of training. I'm very pleased. I used to lead the team every year, and some members couldn't stand my cruel training and actually committed suicide. These people are all useless. Hong Heiyu said, 10 days have passed. I'll give you 3 days to rest. In the path of martial arts, there's tension and relaxation. In these 3 days, you guys completely relax. After 3 days, an even more cruel training awaits you. After saying that, Hong Heiyu disappeared again. He seemed to walk very slowly, but as long as he blinked his eyes, he would disappear without a trace. His speed was beyond human sight, and this was truly elusive. Finally, we can rest. The 5 people's spirits finally relaxed. These 10 days of torture had almost driven them crazy. When they heard that they would rest for 3 days, everyone felt like they had gone from hell to heaven. However, when they thought that there was an even more cruel training waiting for them after 3 days, the 5 people's hearts fell heavy. Even Jiangli felt that Hong Heiyu's training was abnormal. If not for the milky white stone, it would be difficult for him to endure. Captain Jiangli, in these 3 days, let's find a way to complete the mission, increase the team's points, and earn some money at the same time. How about it? Li Jin thought for a moment. In these 10 days, in order to cope with the hellish training, we've used all our money to buy spirit stones. We don't have much left. We won't be able to last much longer. Yeah, if we work together, we can still do some ordinary missions. For example, hunting some beasts on Emperor Planet and handing them over to the university's marketing department, or collecting some mutant fruits. These can also earn us a lot of money. Of course, the most profitable mission is to capture the native Empire's slaves on Emperor Planet. Unfortunately, it's too dangerous. Yang Miaoyu turned on her optical computer and searched for information. Native Empire's slaves on Emperor Planet? That's too dangerous, don't think about it. Jiangli shook his head. He had recently learned that Star Sky University only had a base. They hadn't fully explored Emperor Planet. On such a huge planet, there were all kinds of complicated things, especially the existence of ancient humans. Those humans had built ancient empires similar to the feudal era, and among them, there were also martial arts masters. Although they weren't as powerful as the cultivation world in Jiang Li's dream, there were definitely masters hidden there. Star Sky University's powerful teams often rushed into those empires to steal spirit stones and capture slaves. But Jiang Li didn't want to go. Unless it was absolutely necessary, he didn't want to participate in this kind of conflict between ancient humans and humans, unless the other party took the initiative to invade him. Chapter 123. That's true. With our current strength, going to those ancient and feudal empires is suicide. Yu Tiankai nodded. His tone was filled with fear. If only we had a lot of money, we could buy a warship. Lu Jieja looked at the information on warships. The Emperor's Star is huge. We can't leave the human base by foot. Only by buying a warship can we go to faraway places to train. Yang Yaoyu sighed. Sigh, what a pity. Even a small warship costs billions. We can't afford it. Let's not think about this. Let's go to the cafeteria. Li Jun raised his eyebrows. Jia, Miaoyu, I'll treat you. There was a student cafeteria at the Star Sky University base. Jiang Li had inquired before. The cafeteria even had Rakshasa King base meat, but it was very expensive. His savings of more than 3 million couldn't even buy half a piece of it. In addition, there were meat of a higher grade than Rakshasa King base meat. For example, the heart of the sky shaking thunder beast. It was tempered by lightning all year round and formed an extremely strong structure. Eating it would greatly improve the body's fiber structure. There's also a Star Sky ancient snake meat called three-headed dragon. It contained a kind of energy that the human body couldn't produce. After eating it, the energy contained in the meat would be stored in the depths of the cells. It would then be released during cultivation to create a powerful killing force. Forget it. The food in the cafeteria is too expensive. We've already spent all our money on spirit stones, Lu Jiajia said dejectedly. We'll just have to take nutrient drinks. Terrible. So terrible. Yu Tiankai scratched his head and wailed. Right. Which team did Luohan and Shiren join? I haven't heard from them yet. I'll send them an email. Zhang Li had been tortured by the devil's training these days. Now that he could finally take a break, he immediately contacted them. However, after he sent the message, there was no reply for a long time. It was very likely that after they joined the team, they went somewhere to train, and the optical computer chip couldn't receive any signal. On the Emperor Star, if you were far away from the human base or in the gravity room, it would be difficult to receive network signals. Rumble. Right at this moment, a deafening sonic boom resounded outside the human base. A 30-meter-long battleship appeared out of thin air. This battleship was like a shuttle-shaped fish. Its outer shell was densely covered with scales without any gaps. It was like a space monster hovering over 20 meters above the ground. A few figures opened the hatch and jumped down. A height of more than 20 meters in the air was equivalent to a 7-story building. They jumped down easily without any injuries, which made Jiang Li's eyes twitch. An absolute expert. One had to know that the Emperor Star's gravity was 3 times that of Earth's. Jumping from a height of 20 meters was definitely not as simple as jumping from a 7-story building on Earth. Jiang Li didn't even dare to jump from a high altitude. He would fall to his death. This is not a new student, but an old student from Tsinghua University. Why did you come to our freshman training base? Li Jun frowned. The appearance of this battleship was earth-shattering, attracting the attention of many freshmen. Everyone ran out to take a look. This is a starfish battleship, worth 4 billion star dollars. If our 10 Direction squad has one, we could go to any place on the Emperor Star, even beyond the Emperor Star's atmosphere. Lu Jiejia stared at the battleship, her tone envious. Only a strong team of old students from Tsinghua University can afford it. But with this battleship, it will be very convenient to do any task, and the money will be earned back very quickly. Generally, old students won't come to the freshman training base. Yu Tiankai looked at the few old students who jumped down from the battleship. Each of them was filled with arrogance. After entering the base, they actually walked towards them. He quickly said, "These old students, each of them have extraordinary means, and their arrogance is unparalleled. Let's avoid them first, otherwise we will be beaten up. They don't dare to fight in the base." Yang Yaoyu said, preparing to move to the side. The 3 old students who came down from the battleship were 2 men and 1 woman. As they walked, they were like dragons and tigers, like a giant mountain moving with the Earth's tectonic plates. Naturally, there was an extremely powerful and majestic aura. Some of the freshmen wanted to get close to them, but before they could reach them, they were intimidated by their aura and did not dare to approach. Jiang Li also wanted to avoid them. Suddenly, the optical chip on his wrist flashed. It seemed that someone had located him. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The 3 old students who came down from the battleship exerted their strength at almost the same time. Their speed was incredible, and in an instant, they arrived at Jiang Li's side. One of them, wearing a well-ironed uniform, 2 meters tall, stared at Jiang Li's chip and said in a dull voice, "You are Jiang Li? Looking for me?" Jiang Li took a few steps back, looking at the old student in front of him. The other party's eyes were sharp, like a knife carving on his body, almost able to kill all the cells in his body with just a glance. "I asked if you're called Jiang Li." The man in front of him increased his tone, as if he was a policeman interrogating a criminal. "Why should I answer you?" Jiang Li was extremely displeased, his words clear and cold. Although the old student in front of him gave him great pressure, it was impossible to scare him. Ever since he entered meditation, although Jiang Li had not reached the stage where he regarded life and death as a trivial matter, he would not be easily moved by others. "Ha!" A slap came flying over. Before the hand even arrived, a giant palm shadow was flung out in the air, its speed as fast as lightning. Jiang Li's body shrunk back. The slap struck empty air, emitting an explosive sound in the air, as if the air had exploded. If it was before training, he definitely would not have been able to dodge this slap. However, after 10 days of training, his reaction and agility had increased to a whole new level under the slap of this abnormal teacher, Hong Heiyu. Thus, he used the speed of the great Emperor Wind Seal and dodged. However, the aftershock of the air wave still scraped against his skin, causing him to feel pain. He immediately knew that the person who had slapped him definitely had a vitality of over 3, even higher than Meng Hangyun from 100 days ago. A completely unknown old student. Why did he come to find trouble with him? "Oh, you got guts." The woman among the 3 old students stood out. She was the one who slapped him just now. She originally thought that she could directly slap Jiang Li to the ground, but she did not expect him to dodge. "Who are you? Why are you fighting in a base? Aren't you afraid of the school rules?" Li Jin stood out. Although the 3 old students were imposing, he did not show any weakness. After all, the school rules were there. "I ask you, is your name Jiang Li?" The man in the lead asked again. His murderous aura suddenly rose, and an invisible air wave rushed out from his body, pushing Li Jun back again and again. His body did not move, but the air wave was generated out of thin air. This kind of martial strength was simply amazing. "There's no need to ask, he must be Jiang Li." The girl stepped forward again, her eyes locked on Jiang Li, sharp as a knife. "You have guts. You actually dared to kill Jiang Lu, a bastard that should not have appeared, but actually went to Starry Sky University. It's a disgrace to the Jiang family." "You're from the Jiang family." Jiang Li finally understood why these people came to find trouble with him. They were the masters of the Jiang family, the old students who were admitted to Starry Sky University. The Sun and Moon Corporation's Jiang family was a giant family that held a certain amount of weight in the entire human family. It was not difficult for the masters of their family to be admitted to Starry Sky University. "My name is Jiang Tianhe." The man in the lead spoke again, looking at Jiang Li as if he was looking at an ant. He said arrogantly, "You, Jiang Li, your father, Jiang Zhendong, researched the sun and moon essence for my family, but betrayed the family, violated the family rules, got married, and had children. And you are even more lawless, killing the direct descendant of the Jiang family, Jiang Lu. Tell me, how do you settle such a big crime?" "Big crime?" Jiang Li seemed to have heard something funny. He chuckled and said coldly, "I only know the laws of the human race. I don't know any *T family rules. The laws of the human race have not judged me guilty, so I am innocent. As for Jiang Lu, I don't need to explain anything to others. The ignorant are truly fearless." Jiang Tianhe looked around. "This is the team that you just formed, right? What's the name? The 10 Direction team? Unfortunately, this newly formed team will be destroyed because of your stupidity. Perhaps in a certain mission, the whole team will be annihilated? How dare you threaten us?" When Li Jun, Yu Tiankai, Lu Jejia, and Yang Yaoyu heard this, their blood rushed to their heads. They were so angry that they gritted their teeth and stepped forward to stand behind Jiang Li. "Just because you're seniors and members of the Big River team, you think you can do whatever you want?" Let me tell you, we are not afraid. Through the internet, the four teammates had found out that Jiang Tianhe belonged to the Big River team, a very powerful team that ranked more than 2,000 on the scoreboard. Killing you new students is like killing an ant. There are always some new students who don't know their place. Jiang Tianhe shook his head and looked at Jiang Li. Now, I will give you a chance. First, drop out of school and leave Starry Sky University. Second, go back to Earth and ask your father to apologize to the elders. Third, after you drop out, our Jiang family's law enforcement team will take you away and punish you according to the family rules. As long as you fulfill these three conditions, you can still keep your life. If you insist on doing things the wrong way, then no one can save you. Your father knows too many of the family scientific secrets and even helped other groups to study the essence of the sun and moon. The elders of the family are already furious. Don't naively think that Starry Sky University can protect you. Still the same nonsense. Jiang Li sneered and shouted coldly. The Jiang family wants to meddle in Starry Sky University's affairs? I will stay here and see if the Jiang family can really do anything to me. I said that Starry Sky University can't protect you, so they definitely can't. The woman said, if the elders of the Jiang family pass a message to Master Nalen, as long as he says a word, the school will let you drop out. Master Nalen was Jiang Nalen, mankind's spiritual master, one of the top experts with a vitality of more than 3 digits. In the elite area of mankind, she was invincible, a mighty overlord who traversed the 3 realms. A word from this kind of person was so powerful that countless senior officials of the human government would be shocked. But this kind of person didn't speak easily. Are you also a member of the Jiang family? Jiang Li asked the woman. My surname is Huang, but I am about to marry into the Jiang family, so I can also be considered a member of the Jiang family. The woman surnamed Huang sneered. Originally, you are not qualified to know my name, but seeing that you can escape my slap, you have some qualifications, so you don't become a muddled ghost after you die. Huang Yi, catch him and take him away. Jiang Tianhe still didn't make a move. It could be seen that this woman, Huang Yi, was his girlfriend and was about to marry him. All right. Huang Yi took a step forward and suddenly grabbed. The wind surged and the clouds surged. The air in her hands became a weapon. With a slight grab, a huge mass of air was sucked away. Jiang Li immediately felt his body falling forward, as if he was about to fall into a cave of air. Almost without thinking, Jiang Li shook his arm, stirring up the air waves, and a series of air explosions offset the suction of the collapsed air. It's useless. Huang Yi took another step forward and grabbed 7 times. With each grab, a huge air vortex and tornado was formed, covering a radius of dozens of meters. 7 air vortexes the size of water tanks rotated at high speed, with a cutting force surrounding Jiang Li. The air could be seen with the naked eye, and the high-speed air vortexes spread out. Even the air condensed to the extreme, rubbing against each other, as if there were 7 stars in the center of the air vortexes. A-class martial art, 7 stars, chi-shattering way. Chapter 124. As soon as the 7 huge cyclones appeared, Jiang Li knew that things were going to be bad. His opponent's life force was too strong, and his martial arts were exquisite, far above his own. Cutting, transporting, and controlling the airflow were all perfect, and he had truly grasped the essence of a grade martial arts. B-grade martial arts, like Ghost God Fist, focused on meditation. As for a grade martial arts, it focused on innate earth chi. Once it was activated, it would be extremely powerful, giving people the feeling of moving space. With just a slight attack, the air would turn into raging waves. When cultivated to the highest level, one could even ride the wind. Controlling the airflow and riding the wind, how free would that be? This was the Lizi riding the wind recorded in ancient Taoist scriptures. The cyclones pressed down, and there were raging airflows in all directions. Jiang Li's vision was already blurred, and the edges of the cyclones cut his body, causing him a burning pain. Puchi! A cyclone was the first to press forward, instantly leaving a bloody wound on Jiang Li's face. From this, It could be seen that the might of this cyclone was even sharper than a sword. With Jiang Li's current body, no sword would be able to leave a mark on him, but the cyclone could. The cyclone closed up, and Jiang Li couldn't escape. Seeing that he was about to be seriously injured, he immediately used the Great Emperor Wind Seal. Great Emperor Wind Seal. He drilled down, and his body spun at high speed, and then tried his best to shrink. His whole body was like an empty leather bag, creaking and creaking. The cyclone pressed up, but it hit nothing, and Jiang Li let out a long roar and struck with both hands. His body turned into a spiral, spinning at high speed, and he struck out hundreds of times every second. A powerful explosion of air was produced, and he directly squeezed out from the center. The two clashed, and an intense collision occurred. A huge explosion sounded, and the area of the explosion caused by the two's innate earth chi even spread more than 10 meters away. Jiang Li's skin was broken in many places, but he managed to break out. And Huang Yu was calm, but her eyes were getting colder. Her 7-star, chi-shattering art actually couldn't take down Jiang Li, which was out of her expectation. Go! As soon as Jiang Li broke out of the circle, he ran fiercely, wanting to escape. He didn't believe that these people would dare to chase after him. Although it was against the school rules to make a move just now, he could still use it as an excuse to exchange pointers. But the nature of the pursuit was different. Try to run? Yellow Leaf smiled. He swung his hands behind him, causing the air currents to surge. His entire person actually glided through the air like an arrow, his speed reaching 100 meters per second. In the blink of an eye, she had caught up to Jiang Li and struck him with her palm. Just as this palm strike was about to land on Jiang Li's head, a figure suddenly appeared in front of Jiang Li, grabbing Yellow Leaf's hand. This simple action caused all the shock waves to disappear. Yellow Leaf was grabbed like a little chick and then thrown far away by the shadow. Jiang Tianhe's eyes narrowed. His body flashed and disappeared from where he was. In the next moment, he appeared in midair. He grabbed the Yellow Leaf and spun around in the air, like a crane turning 3 times in the air. Then, he slowly descended with the Yellow Leaf in his arms. There was not the slightest trace of smoke or fire around him. Why did the senior come to the freshman base and bully my student? A tall black figure stood in front of Jiang Li. The person who asked was Hong Heiyu. The devil-like mentor had appeared. You are Jiang Li's mentor? Jiang Tianhe pressed Yellow Leaf down and signaled her not to act rashly. Then I will tell you. Because Jiang Li is from the Sun and Moon Corporation, the Jiang family, he violated the family rules and killed a member of the Jiang family. Do you think he should be punished? He was shrewd. He mentioned the Sun and Moon Corporation's Jiang family, hoping that the other party would be fearful and not meddle in their business. Do you have the verdict of a human's high-level court, or an arrest warrant? Hong Heiyu sized him up and asked. No, Jiang Tianhe continued, but he killed a member of the Jiang family. But my ass. Hong Heiyu suddenly yelled angrily. His voice was like a thunderclap, scaring everyone present. He didn't even have the patience to finish listening to him. He yelled, if you don't have it, then get lost. You. Jiang Tianhe almost choked on his breath. Hong Heiyu took a step forward and said in an interrogative tone, you are from the Big River team, and your mentor is called Huang Shengling, right? How did you know? Jiang Tianhe's expression was surprisingly calm, unfazed by honor or disgrace. Yellow Leaf, on the other hand, couldn't stand the humiliation and was about to go berserk, but she was stopped by Jiang Tianhe. Actually, he didn't know Hong Heiyu. There were too many students and mentors in the Star Sky University. Many experts lived in seclusion, and some mentors only cared about their own cultivation and never taught any students. No one could know everyone. However, Jiang Tianhe could feel an extremely strong pressure from Hong Heiyu. Even though he was scolded and humiliated, he still didn't dare to act rashly. Huang Shengling, this trash, taught students? Go back and tell him that if he allows students to cause trouble in the freshman base again, I will make him unable to eat or sleep in peace. Hong Heiyu seemed to have lost his patience. He checked Jiang Li's injuries and said, are you guys going to get lost or not? Let's go. Jiang Tianhe took a deep look at Hong Black Prison. He dragged Huang Yi out of the freshman base and boarded the battleship. With a whoosh, he disappeared without a trace. Zhongli heaved a sigh of relief. He quickly took out some medicine and sprayed it on his body to heal his injuries. His wounds were all healed in an instant. It was evident that his recovery ability was very strong. Mentor, I really have to thank you this time. Zhongli was very grateful and quickly expressed his gratitude. It's my responsibility to protect the students. Hong Heiyu's expression didn't change. You guys have to be careful next time. The battles between the Star Sky University teams are very cruel. It's just playing around in the base, but outside, it's murder. Such things happen one after another. You guys are not ordinary university students, but soldiers. There's no need to explain anything. The only thing you guys have to do is to cultivate, and become stronger. I don't want to know about your grudges, and I don't want to listen to your long-winded explanations. Yes, Zhongli was in awe and didn't say anything else. Hong Heiyu's figure flashed and immediately disappeared, clean and neat, without any nonsense. This time, it's all thanks to Mentor's help. Otherwise, we would have suffered a great loss. The Big River team on the scoreboard would have their eyes on us, and our future would be very difficult. Lu Jiejia sighed. They're coming for me. It has nothing to do with you guys. As long as you guys don't interfere, it'll be fine, Zhongli said calmly. Zhongli, what are you talking about? Li Zhen glared at him and punched him angrily. We are a team, a whole. We share life and death, honor and disgrace. You are our captain. How can you say such things? Are you trying to anger us to death? If we were in danger, would you just ignore it as if it had nothing to do with you? That's right. The moment the five of us formed a team, our fates were tied together. Yu Tiankai had always been smiling. When he heard Li Zhen's words, his expression also became serious. He solemnly said, any team member's problem is our problem. No matter who comes to deal with us, we must work together and fight to the end. Yes, no one can bully our 10 Direction squad. Lu Jiejia was very angry with Yellow Leaf's arrogance just now. The four people reached out their hands to Zhongli. Zhongli was speechless. As he looked at the determined faces of the four people, a feeling known as being moved quietly rose from the bottom of his heart. At this moment, he actually didn't know what to say. He could only heavily nod his head and extend his hand. The five people's hands were put together. Between each other, a bridge called trust was formed. At this moment, it seemed that time had stopped. Yu Tiankai was the first to speak, breaking the silence. He gritted his teeth and said, the most important thing now is to increase our strength so that we won't be bullied. Let's go. We will go out to train now and enjoy the scenery on Emperor's Star. I have already checked. There's an ancient forest about 3,000 kilometers away from our new student base. There are very powerful beasts, such as the Firebird. Every time we catch one and contribute it to the school, we will get 1 point of the team and a reward of about 5 million star coins. Li Zhen opened the chip. The Firebird is especially precious in the pet market. It can be sold for tens of millions of star coins. Catching Firebirds can also make money. Zhongli recalled the day when he first met Meng Hengyun after the exam. He caught a Firebird outside and rode it to the entrance of the human base. He didn't expect the Firebird to be so valuable that it could be sold to the school for 5 million. With his hypnosis, he could definitely catch a lot of Firebirds. Wouldn't the money come rolling in? Moreover, he had a huge storage space that could carry a lot of resources at once. Zhongli opened the computer chip and searched for all kinds of information. It was the purchase price of the Starry Sky University and the points. Sky-shaking Thunder Beast, 300 million star coins for one. Zhongli opened the information and saw that it said, must be caught alive for research. 100 points. The team ranking was very important because Starry Sky University would conduct an evaluation every month. Once the team's points were on the ranking, they would receive generous bonuses and prizes, which was equivalent to a salary. It was unknown how many points the team had to earn to be on the ranking. Firebird, catch one alive, tame it, and give it to the school. You can get 5 million star coins and 1 more team point. Zhongli searched for the Firebird market and found that the Firebird market was very good. After being tamed, it would be loyal to its owner. It could be used to look after the house, take care of children, or carry people to fly. As a practical pet, many rich people would fight to buy it. The feathers of the firebird could be made into exquisite luxury goods. It was the dream of the upper class. However, the firebird was very powerful. It could spit fire, and its body was made of steel. Guns could not penetrate it, unless it was a battleship laser cannon. However, killing the firebird was useless. Only a live one could be tamed and had value. Of course, after being tamed by humans, the firebird would become stronger after consuming the nutrient solution. It would also be loyal to humans, unlike other wild beasts that were difficult to tame. For example, the sky-shaking thunder beast was arrogant and could not be tamed by humans. Humans could only kill it for research. Let me see. What is the first monster on the ranking? Zhongli continued to search carefully. After a long time of data adjustment, a page suddenly appeared. Oh my god, what monster is this? It's worth 100 million points. 1 trillion star coins? Zhongli looked at the first one and couldn't help but be stunned. This was the most expensive monster on the Emperor's Star. He quickly opened it and found a person. A middle-aged man in a long robe stood under the starry sky with his hands behind his back. His eyes were looking into the distance. He was graceful like a peerless overlord, but he also had a scholarly aura, like an ancient scholar. Emperor's Star, the Qin Empire's National Academy Dean, Chen Tianshu, native of the Emperor's Star, peerless expert, repeatedly killed Starry Sky University students, attempted to destroy the university base, vitality estimated at 64, spiritual realm, embryonic breathing, mixed origin breath, magical power, danger index SSSS. The meditation realm was divided into 3 levels: small meditation, great meditation, and constant meditation. The embryonic breathing realm was also divided into 3 levels: psyche breath, divine breath, and mixed origin breath. Mixed origin breath was the highest level. As for what level it was, Zhongli couldn't figure it out. However, seeing the vitality of 64, he turned off the optical computer. This kind of person could even destroy battleships with his bare hands and kill him from 1,000 miles away with a thought. Capture him? What a joke. Capturing Chen Tianshu and obtaining 100 million points would immediately become the team with the highest points in the university, and they would also receive a reward of 1 trillion star coins. However, until now, no one had done it. Those who wanted to capture him were all dead. Jiang Li's current vitality of 27 was not even a fraction of his. He reckoned that even Minter Hong Heiyu would be killed by Chen Tianshu. As the leader of the Qin Empire's Academy on the Emperor's Star, Chen Tianshu was equivalent to the principal of the human Starry Sky University. When Zhongli thought of this, he was worried about his future situation. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.